fun like a dream. Rexic, that's right, it's Rexic the King. With gameplay so bad it will make you want to scream. Welcome to the Rexic the King stream. Rexic, that's right, it's Rexic the King. There is no shortage of games he'll play for you, be it Fall Guys, Fortnite, Marvel Rivals, or Overwatch 2. Rexic, that's right, it's Rexic the King. Awesome announces back after many moons. That purple surfer still makes him swoon. Rexic, that's right, it's Rexic the King. Now without much further ado, he's going to start the stream for you. There's only a few seconds to go. He hopes that you enjoy the show.
Hello everybody, welcome in to another Rex the King stream. As always, I am, you guessed it, Rex the King. How's everybody doing today on this fine Thursday? Sorry for a little bit of delay in starting. I was just catching on the starting of my daughter Flex's stream. Just like saying hi, seeing what was going on before heading on over. But we're only 30 late, so I can go 30 after. Balance it all out. How's everybody doing today? How was your Wednesday since last we met? Hopefully only good things. Hopefully today will be even better as you learn Blender with me and probably better than me. To just be completely honest. I hope everybody's doing well. What's been going on since the last time? What did you do today? I went to the store, got all my food and stuff for the rest of September. I got planned it out that way. I did a shorter bike ride than usual because of a bit misty out. I didn't want to be out in case it just turns to full on sprinkling or rain and stuff. I didn't want it to get like my glasses all smudged up, vision obscured, because that just ain't safe. Your boy's gotta be your boy's all about that safety. Yeah, it's just a little ride around. Still had time for Pokemon and hitting all the stops. All good. Almost done once again with Princess Peach Showtime. Just a few of the ninjas to find. Then it's the bosses fighting in the challenge mode. Don't get hit or only I don't know attack 3 times and don't miss, stuff like that. It'll be tricky, but I'm sure it's well within my abilities to do so. Hopefully. I could be very wrong with that. What's been going on? Not a whole heck a ton. I do need to I really need to start making the SFM picture for the Halloween contest. So I only have 12 12 days to work on that. Have to get it ready for posting on the 1st for when it officially launches. But I'll get that and the costume and everything, all that done in time. Have no fear about that. I'll just have to stop procrastinating, really. So, yep, you know how it goes. Alright, so just since we started later, let's just get into the Blender lesson, shall we? Let me get it launched over to here, and feel free to be learning it along with me. Oh, 1 second. There we go. Colors. Let me bring up the tutorial page so you can follow along with me as I go. And possibly like, help me if I have it, like, some part of it completely wrong. Oh yes, I also had some help. There was like these... I mean, you don't see them now, but there's like weird little like loops going around like there. It's like a weird like connected part of the icing, so I asked on the Blender Discord, they're able to like help me like actually find where it's like, it's like right on there. There's like one like right here, for example. And I tried to like select it with that, but it wouldn't actually like just do that specific part. So it was like you like go onto the icing, do like the different model view, on that one or that one, finding it there, leading to vertices and edges and all that stuff. Like eventually I was able to get that taken care of so it's not messing up the like the final version, you know? Alright. Alright, Blender 4.0, part 11, compositing.
Well done for sticking with the series. It's a lot of work, a lot to
Definitely is a lot of work.
retain, but well done for sticking with it. Now, a couple of things before we jump into compositing, the fun compositing stuff. I know.
Oh yeah, hold on. I did the... Yes, dude, so it's like I wanted to keep it on like this light, but I did do a test of having it with the fast GI approximation on. And so it's like this way it took like just on the render of the image itself, it was like 20 seconds or so. Where on this one it was like 11 or 12, so it's a bit faster, but I like the softer like gold yellow lighting of this way. I'm not sure if there's like a way I can... There's probably like some ways to like have it on this one and just like do like height adjustments, like fog amount, like the same like approximate colorization, but I couldn't figure it out. So I'll like keep it at this one, and unless it like makes the render be like super long, you know.
Notice a couple of things that I could tweak to the lighting just to improve it. And it's important we do it now because what we're going to do next relies on the lighting being correct. So the first is I noticed that the light rotation, it would be a little bit better if I rotated it so it's almost like a 90-degree, like completely side on.
I see. Zero. World light. Where is it? They're like that way. Wait, hold on. Why don't I have like the distant part there? Maybe it's like just from the... Maybe from like I know there's nothing blocking it there. Why would that not have... Like, what's blocking this light? Sun rotation. Like that way. Huh. Odd. Yeah, and there's like like directly, but mine's not doing that same thing. Let me send those back. On disk. Altitude doesn't change anything with that. I mean, that way it's sort of like dead like to the side. But then how do I... Now, if I do that, then like affects the shadows, and it looks like... Let's see, the world is on rotation. And it's like not actually changing the donut, oddly. Huh. I'll just have it like go that way, I guess.
To the donuts. So that's pretty simple
something with
change.
the scale, I
The
guess,
other
I
one
don't
I
know.
noticed is that I'm getting this like kind of ugly bounce light coming off this, both the plate and the table. So to fix that,
Oh, wait, hold on.
I can just...
Where is the plate? There it is. There we go. I didn't notice I took the plate off.
move, right? Go into edit mode, edge select mode, select the edge of this window. And then if I just drag it, you'll see that the light just disappears off the front there. And now I have controlled the light.
I don't seem to have that same issue. I could see if that does
See that the light just select mode, select the edge of this window. And then if I just drag it, you'll see that the light just
window,
disappears
middle
off the
click
front
G.
there.
Edge. Face. Hold on. A wall. No, it's like the square. Yeah, the cube. Why can't I just select this part in particular? That's a wall. What? Yeah, why is it not letting me? That's the cube. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, this. Hold on, what mode is he on for that? Alright, edit mode's a line.
Plate and the table. So to fix that, I can just move, right? Go into edit mode, edge select mode, select the edge of this window. And then if I just drag...
Edit mode, edge select. I'm in edit mode, I'm on edge select. No, I want... Why is it not letting me do that? I can move it, sure. But not... There we go. Go back to that. Turn on the lighting. And then G... Y. Do that, and now it's like weirdly inside. Or it does that. I don't understand. Alright, whatever. It's not an issue anyway. It's just going over for nothing. Object mode. Wait, now why is it so hard to zoom in? Zero. Yeah, why is... Yeah, why can I barely zoom in now? What's going on? Hold on. Turn this. Give me a second. All I did was the rotation of the thing, if I could do that again, but why did it suddenly, like, super hard to, like, try and zoom in? Turn on the lighting mode. Okay, yeah, there we go. Weird. Turn the plate on. There. I'll do this. The world. Oh, there's the world. That rotation. Do it like, sort of like that. Okay.
Drag it, you'll see that the light just disappears off the front there.
It didn't work for me, but whatever.
Now I have controlled the light. Now the other thing, speaking of control, I noticed looking at this wall, like I was trying to tweak it and just try to improve it, but this is like a huge source of light, right? And so if you look...
I suppose it is. Mine's like all bright. I don't know why his is gray, but whatever.
On our donut, it's not very controlled, right? I could either, if I want to fill in this space, I could increase the brightness of that wall, but you can see it throws light just everywhere, and I don't really have any control over it. So,
really
change
it,
my
right.
mind. Let's not use that as a fill source. Let's just drop the value to 0, so there is now no light coming off of that wall.
Okay. How do you actually...
It's just controllable, but you can see it, if I want to fill in this space, I can a source of light, right? And so if you look on our donut, it's not very controlled,
what is he just
right?
selecting is what
I
I
could
mean.
either, if I want to fill in this space, I could increase the brightness of that wall, but
Looking on the wall object mode. Where is that? It's like all like zoomed in weirdly.
either if I want to fill in this
so much of the
space, I could
stuff
increase the
here on
brightness
the
of that wall.
material. Wait, like it's already... No, it was already black. Then why isn't it black? What the heck? Why?
Wall, but you can see it throws light just everywhere, and I don't really have any control over it. So change my mind. Let's not use that as a fill source. Let's just drop the value to 0, so there is now no light coming off of that wall.
Yes, there is. Why is the box not black? Well, what the heck? And it shows me selected the cube. Cube 01, material, color. Yeah, you see it like it's fully there, but it's not doing the thing. A blender cube not black. Tutorial. I'm not hitting the cube. Did I miss like a part on the previous tutorial or something? Because like I changed it to black. Let's see, this is part 11.
And then God
writing.
said, "Let there be." Okay, that's pretty good. So I'll send you a snap of that. And weirder,
doesn't
but
work.
I'm here. G, B, this point to that point. Really need those faces. Another gaps, and then faces.
Did the window.
The camera selected. I'll just
Yes,
move this
that's
down
all
a little bit.
gray.
Artists like to get scared for everything else, right? White walls, the black wall material too. And then here I select it from the material list, black wall, and then hit assign. And importantly, you won't see the assign
Okay, hold
select
on.
these I do in the real world, and that's to create a like what a
Yeah, so I thought
photographer
I
would do.
did
They
this
make
right.
like
I have it, like-
a black fill color.
I have like the black wall thing. So what did I...
Right? And that's just to essentially stop bounce lighting from hitting the subject. So it's a good excuse to learn about a new feature. So with the cube selected, if I go to the materials and then
Cube selected materials. Materials. I'm already on material. Yeah, see, white walls and black walls. I already did that part.
hit new, We're going to keep the white material for everything else, right? White walls. But then I can add another material right underneath this one by hitting the plus.
Yeah, so I did that. I have both the walls.
Button, then adding another material, and I'll call this one black wall. And I actually will change the shader from principled to a much simpler diffuse.
It changed shader to diffuse. Yeah, it's already diffuse.
It's just easier for cycles to calculate than a full principled one. And then this, I'll just change the color to be really dark, almost black. All right, and now in edit mode, I'm gonna go face select, and I'm gonna select that one wall that I wanna have.
All right, edit mode, face select. Aces. Welcome. Thank you for the raid. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Thank you very much, Aces. What you were just doing? Are you doing art? All right, Ace Advanti. Everybody's here. Hello, Socket to me. Welcome. Ah, yeah, indeed. Yes, I am. I'll thank you for the follow, Socket. Oh no, the window's blocking.
Socket to me just joined the kingdom.
Thank you. Welcome in. Welcome in, everybody. I am Rexic the King. I'm usually a variety streamer doing a Blender learning today. Trying to figure out why this light thing's not working right. I'm also on, well, not on Flex's stream, but I talk there, you know. That's my data. But welcome. How was your stream today, Aces? You were doing art. Very cool. What sort of? Do you have a art text? I think it's called. How's Blender going? It's going. I'm trying to figure out some part of it, 'cause it's supposed to be black, I thought, but then it wasn't changing it, so it's all the weird. I was on the second part of the, or not second part, actually the 11th part, and then it was a difference. My wall's not changing when they do the other part of the lesson. What did I miss on the previous? So I was trying to go back to see what exactly part I messed up. Stream went well. Finished our 13th costume for Smudge. Oh, very cool. What was the costume? If you are good showing it, or saying it rather. But very cool. Excuse me, one quick second. Yeah, there we go. Oh yeah, so I am. Yeah, so I'm Rex the King. I'm doing Blender learning on Thursdays, but then usually on Tuesdays it's a variety stream of oh, the links don't work. Do it in the Whisper so I can see it. I don't know how to change that. Sorry. That's all right, and I'll make sure to check check the Twitter, or not Twitter, Twitch messages, so I see it faster than I did last time. Yeah, so on Tuesdays it's usually variety of games, so Marvel Rivals, Fall Guys, Overwatch 2, Fortnite occasionally, and Saturdays it's a story game, so it's currently Blightbound. But yeah, on Thursdays I'm doing Blender lessons, trying to figure this crazy complicated program out. One week at a time. And it is definitely quite tricky. And I see the here. Oh, very cool. Again, all the fumes from the cauldron, or is she bringing it into the cauldron? Probably taking it in. That's a cool little box with its nice voodoo hat. Very nice. Some eyes lurking in the darkness. And some baked goods. Can't go wrong with some baked goods. Nice mask. Right. Well, I was gonna say it reminds me of Princess of the Frog, but that's like just also based like on like voodoo and like New Orleans stuff. So that would be like a dumb thing to say. But this looks very cool. We made costumes of Xeno Supergirl, Bots and Magic, Ox Machina, Flex, Mel Raffle, Cody Shibby, Furl Lion, Eldridge, or Eindred, sorry. Fancy Lever, Trash Goblin, Yee, Atomic Commander, and AJ Blue Cloud. Oh, I didn't see that finished. Came out really nice. It is Princess Frog. Okay. Alright, I was thinking it was, but it's like, I thought just like saying that, oh, it's like from Princess Frog. Like no, there's a whole, like, voodoo, like, Nolans thing before that. It's not just, but it actually is. Okay. Very cool. Definitely. Yeah, are you? Twisted Fairy Tale, Tiana embraces front on your side. Ah, okay. I see. I had to flip in the script. I get it. That's very cool. Are you ready? So many good songs in that movie. But yeah, this looks very cool, Aces. Very well done. You said this is the 13th. Is that like 13 out of like some higher number than 13? Like 13 out of 20 or something like that? She unalives Navina Dr. Facilier, uses the voodoo to take souls from the greedy elite, and gives strength and health to the poor. Oh, interesting. Like an interesting side take of it. Very cool. I like all the background details. Got the candle. Nice. Nope, 13 streams in the month of October. Smudge will wear... 13 streams in the month of October. Smudge will wear a different costume every stream. Okay. Oh, I see what you mean. I misremembered and also, like, misread. Okay, so it's costumes for Smudge of, like, Xeno and Bots and Ox. Okay. I thought it was, like I misunderstood it in my mind as, like, a costume for each of them. Okay, I see. I'm picking up what you're putting down now. And he was redeemed as strong, so now Smudge is doing voodoo. Oh, gotcha. Very cool. Like, very nice work here, Aces. Nice solid lines, or ink lines, whatever. Everything, very nice. Quite a good job there. Very cool. I never had, like, drawing skill myself. That's very... So it's always impressive, like, seeing people actually know how to do it. Yeah, but very cool, Aces. So I'm just trying to... it was fun skipping my usual Sunday stream to stream with Ox. Or skipping my usual Sunday stream with Ox. Very nice. Like, what sort of... like, what is it? I forget if you said it before, but, like, what do you have planned for that? It's like co-op gaming? So next Fairy Tale will be next week. Gotcha. Very cool. Do you already have, like, the other Fairy Tale in mind? A Guardian Criminal Community. Oh, right. I think I remember you telling me about that. Or at least, like, partially mentioning it. Very cool. Ariel is next. Ah, nice. So let me guess. So if it's Twisted... There's the Fairy Tales. Like, maybe doesn't get the voice back. That's one way it could go. Or tries... Or uses Ursula's magic to turn Prince Eric human instead? No, that's probably not it. I'm just trying to guess, like, what a twist of it could be. But definitely share that when it is finished. I'm sure it'll look very nice. I'm trying to remember how I get to the light menu here. Not output. My texture is one of these things. I'm still very much unfamiliar with Blender. Running theme, probably want 1L for running theme. Once again, blah. A running theme probably won't end well for Prince Eric or Ursula. Oh no. Well, I'm sure I know the art will be very cool. Let's just definitely share that. Oh wait, I'm in object mode. That's why I wasn't showing up. Possibly. I'll definitely share it out. Nice. Very cool. I am trying to remember how I find the fast GI approximation here. To see if it looks better with that or that, but I don't remember what menu that is on. Give me a moment. A fast GI approximation. A render properties light paths. Render properties. I think that's way dark, huh? That ain't quite right. Hold on, let me... Sun rotation. That doesn't really do it there. Huh. Okay, that works a bit. Makes that like... That part's really dark, but that was like part of the further tutorial. World. Rotation. And I bring it into the camera view, sun rotation. There. Huh. Yeah, I can't get the other way, like get blocked off. Go work and grab some dinner. No problem, aces. Like help you have a great dinner. Do you already know what you're having, or is it going to be decided in a moment? Have a great dinner. Thank you very much for the raid. Much appreciated. It should have done a auto shout out with the raid, I believe, with Frosty. Let me. Okay, it did. Cool. Cool. Yeah, thank you very much. Have a wonderful dinner. I will be here trying to figure this out. And like, will I be able to? That remains to be seen. Yes, but thank you very much, aces. Like, very much appreciated. Enjoy your dinner, my friend. I will bang my head against this. Okay, so I did the
plus button, then adding another material, and I pulled to a much simpler
so I have that under diffuse, I believe. Material. Surface. Oh, wait. There we go. Hold on. Let me get out of the camera view. Okay, that doesn't show color when it's like that. At least not fully. It is from principled to diffuse.
It's just easier for cycles to calculate than a full.
Right, okay. Principled diffuse. This. That just takes out all the lighting from there. But why would it do that? I'll make sure I have this one selected. Oh, it's already on diffuse. Maybe not. Okay, so it's doing that. It has like the bounce back when it's all bright, so that's why I turn it down to lower. I don't know. That looks sort of weird like that, but
in edit mode, I'm going to go material to design, and importantly, so if you see it,
is like
because this light, this sunlight is hitting this.
There's like a part of that, like on the later parts of this tutorial. So I was like trying to see, okay, why isn't this one black like it's showing? But I think I got that part.
It is a control, but you can see it throws light just everywhere, and I don't really have any control over it.
With me.
So change my mind. Let's not use that as
parts I have all it like a saved, like it should still be all on Twitch, but I also have it on like I put it on YouTube like after sun also, so it'll be there like hopefully forever.
A fill source. Let's just drop the value to 0.
Okay, so I did that. So I did that same thing. Like a sort of like weird thing like right there, but that's like I was like something in the box itself. Cause there's like a hold on, maybe I can do this. So it's like I don't know, like kind of like an angle a little bit, but I don't know why it did that. There's like a thing they showed for like that was like a GB. There's like this for like a specific grid thing. So like to go onto that, but when I did it, it didn't actually go on to like anything else. Like it showed it as like let's move her aside. So you do that on the on the wrong part. So it like shows this like, oh, you can do like this square for like the edge or like for the line. And what it's supposed to do is like you do that and it'll also show it like on like whatever like model or texture or whatever on the other side it should connect to, but it didn't have that for my side for some reason. So it's like not completely on there. Now maybe if I can do, maybe I could have to like just adjust that specific one. Only from the inside. There. And then how does that look? I said that part seems normal. And it's still like all super black on the inside, but it's I just think with the just with like the not like clipping on thing anyway, that might just be something I have to deal with, unfortunately. Hold on, go back to this. Lighting. Where is it? And now render. Okay, so I want the light to go from there. That'd be the world. Sun rotation 59. Over that way. Like it starts to do it, but then it's like not fully. It doesn't actually do like the full side like x-axis. Sun rotation. It's like I'm gonna zoom out of that mode. And I can't really tell it from like here. Maybe I can. It's like that way. It's like. Thank you for the follow, Bear Rodeo Twitch Edition. Much appreciated. Hope your day is going well.
Bear Rodeo Twitch Edition just joined the kingdom.
I appreciate it. We're just trying to figure out this wacky program. That works. How are you doing on this fine day? This fine Thursday the 18th. Hopefully well. Let's see. The lights. I wonder if I could see it like easier that way, but apparently not. Not the floor. Zoom that out a little bit. Good. World. Wait, almost maybe. And then went way too far. I'm just trying for the tutorial that has to like, I mean, obviously like very side, but you can see here it's like directly vertical, but it also has like the clear shadow, which mine doesn't have for some reason. So it's like all this stuff is like just a bit odd. See. That might be the best kind of way I can get it, while still having like any shadows being portrayed onto the back, you know. All right, let me go back here.
Light just everywhere, and I don't really have any control over it. So, change my mind. Let's not use that as a fill source. Let's just drop the value to 0. So there is now no light coming off of that wall. Right. It is a black void, which is actually pretty good. I mean, that's like a photographer holding up a black fill card next to a face. And instead, excuse me.
Your excuse.
Okay. Quick break there. Had to get a drink of water. Instead, I'm going to add in a lamp, okay? So I'm going to shift right mouse click so that I drop it on the ground here.
Shift right mouse there. Wait, hold on, let me get out of the camera mode, or what the? Excuse me? Shift right click there.
In front, to the side. And then I'm going to go Shift A, and I'm going to add in not a point lamp, not a sun, but an area lamp.
Okay, Shift A area. Shift A area, right. Oh, there we go. Area lamp. Okay,
so this is what it looks like. It looks like a plane, right? Flat square thing, and it casts it in the direction of that arrow.
Well, let me see if I can actually see that. Object mode. All right, I see that going there.
So I want to rotate it along the y-axis. Just holding down Control, and in the top left, you can see we get a 90-degree angle. So that's
okay. Rotate the y-axis. So R for that. And then Y. Just like pointing up, it looked like he was doing.
That's what I'm looking for. And in the top left, you can see we get a 90-degree angle.
Okay, 90 degree. R, Y, Control. Like that.
So that's what I'm looking for. And then the size of this, I want to drop the size in the setting there.
Lower size like about the same as the plates. Or mine's like way smaller. Woo. Welcome, Turtle. How are you doing? Always good to see you. Hope your Thursday has been going great. Welcome in, welcome in. Make yourself cozy and try and learn Blender with me. How are you doing today, my friend?
Okay, so I just can go really small actually. And now, if I pull in close with rendered view mode, we should see a lot more control.
Rendered view mode. This. Did this do anything? It doesn't look like it did, but maybe you have to apply
over
it.
Where that fill light goes. All right, so I can pull it in nice and close, right? Now that's obviously way too bright, so I'll just now dial that.
Mine doesn't have any light on it, feels like. Where is he at? He's on the light tab. Power. Yeah, that's not doing anything. Huh. That's strange. I had to write one, didn't I? It's like Shift A area plane.
To the side.
Shift A area.
And then I'm going to go Shift A, and I'm going to add in not a point lamp, not a sun, but an area lamp. Okay.
Yeah, Shift A light area. That's what I did. Go back there. I'll leave that one just to be sure. And Shift A light area. Exactly. And rotation that way, but mine's not a cube. Or it is, but I gotta like scale it up. I rotate it that way. But what am I doing differently?
So this is what it looks like. It looks like a plane, right? Flat square thing, and it casts it in the direction of that arrow. So I want to rotate it along the y-axis. Just holding down control, and in the top left you can see we get a 90-degree angle. So that's what I'm looking for. And then the size of this, I want to drop the size. And now if I pull in close with rendered view mode, we should see a lot more control.
Bring it to rendered.
Over.
It is brought to rendered. It is not doing any actual light. Guess I can't tell. Yeah, off does nothing. What the heck? Well, maybe if I turn off the fast GI, I'll see an effect. Light. It doesn't appear like it. But why would that not be working? Blender. Strange. Area light. Yeah, area light not working. Something very small missing. Just like try increasing the brightness of it. Apparently. 1,000. Shrink it up. 7,000. Alright, going into the huge amounts. Let's see. 5,000. Okay, that has some light now. Even more. Until it says otherwise. Oh, wrong part. Area. Something like that. So maybe that'll work. Let me see what
where that fill light goes. All right, so I can pull it in.
Do with it.
Nice and close. Right. Now that's obviously way too bright, so I'll just now dial that back like so. And I can now pull it forward so that I get the fill light exactly where I want. But that's, that's 3D, right?
Okay. Like move this. Angle it that way a little bit. Crank up light a bit more. So that way we got like a bit of a light sheen, like there without it, there with it, but maybe slightly less than that. Maybe. Toggle it on and off. Well, that works. And then if I have GI on, that still has an effect there. Okay.
Try out an idea, you're like, okay, that could work, and then you look at it and you're like, maybe not. I'll try a different one. But yeah, so I'm just going to give it a bit of a yellowy tint, and that's
a yellowy tint. Light. Okay, that's doing an effect. Cool. Right in the middle. Crank that for a nice summer day.
Better.
Summer morn.
Awesome. Okay, so now we can do some compositing. But first of all, what is it? Well, the compositor is a way to add effects to the final render. So that could be everything from a simple color grade to like really stylized renders. So in our case, we're going to use it to add glare to better emulate a camera. That's really the purpose for this tutorial.
All right.
So at the top of your screen, click on the Compositor tab. So this will arrange your screen again, disorient you for a moment. But yeah, wouldn't you believe it? It's another node screen. So click Use Nodes at the top there. For whatever reason, they always
Use
appear
nodes.
off your screen, at least in my case. Maybe it
Ooh,
appears on
doggy.
yours. But if you middle mouse up or just scroll down, you should be able to see it. Or you can just hit the
see
home key as well, and that'll bring it into focus.
I got him.
So it's actually pretty similar to like geometry nodes in that on the left-hand side, this is your original, like what you've started with, your original render. And then on the right-hand side, it's going to be your final output. Like that's what's going to be saved to an image. And then in between here, you can put output, like that's what's render. And then on the right-hand side, it's going
Doing left click on it. Oh, there we go. It's just like all selected when I tried to do it. Okay.
to be your final output, like that's what's going to be saved to an image.
Right.
And then in between here, you can put whatever it is you
image.
want. You could put a color grade. You could do some post-processing glare and shine and things like that.
Right.
But before we can see anything, because normally you would see your result here, we can't for two reasons. The first is we haven't done a render, okay? It's not enough to just look in like rendered view mode here, right? This is just like a temporary view whilst we're moving around. We have to do a proper render by hitting F12. But if we did one right now, we'd be waiting a while because the maximum samples is 4,000, which is it's like probably pretty good for like film animation production quality,
I already turned
but
down
it's
my
overkill, and
samples
especially
for
for
testing render
for
stuff.
this, like we're just doing some test renders. So let's set it to 100 samples, and that'll.
Hold on, I have it not that low. I have on the render menu, layout, render. Max samples 250. Let's do that for the figuring out part.
Do it way faster. So now let's hit F12 on that.
F12.
There we go. So that came through for me 7 seconds. Again,
F12. Go. Image being made. There we go, 14 seconds.
I got 43090s. It'll probably be a little slower if you're on a laptop, but yeah, just be patient. It'll come through.
4060 too.
Now go to the compositing tab, and we still can't see it because we need to add a viewer node and connect it to this. And you can do that just by holding down Control, Shift, and then left clicking on your render layer.
Control, Shift, left clicking. There. There we go.
And now we have a viewer node, and in the background we have
a viewer node. There we are.
our
that
render.
Bad boy onto the side.
So some people find it like a little weird to have the render in the background. You can move it around just by holding down Alt and then middle mouse button, and then middle mouse button will move your nodes around. So Alt, middle mouse button for the background, and then middle mouse for the nodes. Anyways, as a very quick example, let's do a simple color adjustment. So adjustment, color balance, right?
Control A, color balance. How do I do the size of it? I don't know. Control A or Shift A?
Example, let's do a simple color adjustment. So adjustment, color
balance. Alrighty. Shift A, color balance. There we are. That looks different than that one is, so I'll make it
balance,
more complicated to figure out.
Drop this in here. Now, if you just dropped it into your viewer node, then this would be just what is going to be shown in the background here, but it wouldn't be saved in your render until it went through your composite node. But for just this quick effect, it's good enough. So this is graders know exactly what this is, but it's for...
Hold on, so let me actually move this over. There.
On the left-hand side, your blacks, right? Your midtones is in the middle, and the right-hand side is your highlights. So if I wanted to make, I don't know, like a cooler midtone, and then like a warmer highlight, right? And then, I don't know, something for the blacks, like make it more green.
So green, blue, red. I don't even see that. Yeah, how do I actually... Oh, there we go. I turn like background all different stuff. What do you do?
I don't know. Just make something horrible. You could do it here.
Light blue. Just like, yeah, just like testing stuff out. And it's like completely messes with it. And Chief, you're on stream view. Thank you, Storm. Excuse me. Turn it all like all neon stuff.
Yeah, you can make simple color adjustments. You could do it there. And your original render hasn't changed. This is just a post-processing step.
Right.
But actually, on the note of making things look more contrasted and punchy, I wouldn't actually bother with the color balance node. We used to, but now Blender has some pretty good color management. So I'm going to hit Control X on that to just remove it.
Okay, Control X. There we go. Back
but retain its connection. And then if you go down in your render settings to color management.
Render settings. Color management. All right, there.
There is a look drop down here. So if you set this to high contrast.
A look. High contrast.
That's exactly the same as like what we were doing there, like trying to like increase the highlights or reduce the midtones. It's a very common thing to try and make something look punchier. And these looks will do that, but do it really well. A lot of people make the assumption that this is like, you shouldn't use these or it's going to like mess with the colors in some way. And like other applications, true. Like, a lot of like art apps, they just, like more easy, you use one of their contrast settings and it just starts like clipping highlights and things. But this was designed by Troy Sobotka, who understands color science and color management. So it's a proper S-curve. You won't have any clipping going on. So I use this all the time. Usually the one I go for is a medium high contrast look.
Medium high. So let me see. I can't like. Whoop. There we go. I don't know why I can't zoom the picture out. That's weird. High contrast. Medium high. I'll go, not like it is on the high one. I'll do that.
Look, and it just makes a really nice looking result. By the way, just a quick mention, in 4.0, this version of Blender, we switched the view transform to AGX.
View transform AGX, I'm already on that, good.
Which creates more realistic looking images, because previously it was on Filmic and it looked like this. Well, and you can see the difference is like AGX it just looks more real. But the reason for that is that Filmic was, and actually the same with Aces right now. The film, like the one, the Academy, all the people in VFX use and everything, it's got this same problem. Right. But when you've got color, the more exposed a color is, it should actually start to desaturate. But what Aces and what Filmic was doing is that it was making that color more and more saturated. So that's why these bright colors here are just starting to get ugly, right? But AGX fixes that and it starts to behave more like film, where it desaturates those colors as it exposes for it. So very cool, and I'm glad they've got that. While I'm here as well, I'm just going to increase the exposure a bit. It's going to blow it out a little. Anyway, we'll fix it.
Let me look at the different exposure. 1529. Definitely not that. Very carefully. Actually, no, it's fine. It's that one.
A bit with the lighting later. But anyways, okay, back to the compositor.
Back to the
So
compositor. I'm
one thing
already
that I often
on
use a
there.
compositor for is for what you see in the real world, which is glare, right? If you've got a shiny metallic object, a bumper or something like that, you want to have that
those single
starburst,
effectual
right, coming off it, because that's what you see in the real world.
What's your
You see
favorite
it
kind of
both with your
starburst?
eyes, like if you squint at something in the
I like the
distance,
strawberry one.
you'll see like like this kind of like starburst around like a street light at night. That's actually
Right.
because of the eyelashes on your eye. But on a camera, it's for a different reason. It's because of the optical elements. It's kind of like refracting around itself, and it's creating this starburst look. I don't understand it
Right.
fully, but I know that it's an artifact which has artistic use as well. So we are going to
I don't
add
understand
it.
how it works, but I'll take
It is a
your word
little
for it.
fiddly. I'll be honest. Like other software, they just have a button and it just like adds the bloom and the glare and stuff. We have to do this for now. So.
Right.
Shift A. We probably could if more people donated to Blender, right? We could have stuff like this. But anyways, so not to guilt you all.
Shift A, glare.
Filter, glare.
Shift A. Filter, glare. Got it. I don't know which one he's trying to connect it to.
Okay, and that was Shift A, by the way. Same hotkey works everywhere.
Onto
And drop
the
this in. Okay, so we've got
bottom one. It looks like it's like still going from image to composite directly. Okay, yeah.
little starbursts. We've only got 4, which is not ideal. We want as many as we can get, really. So drag it up to 16. That's
Glare streaks 16. I'm not sure about
better.
that one, bro.
Now, there's 2 values here you really want to change. The first is the threshold. That'll decide how much of the image is affected. Like, as I drag this up in value, it means only the really bright stuff is going to be affected.
Right.
If you dragged it really low, then like everything is going to give off a starburst, and it's not going to be what you want.
Right.
And the other one is the mix value. So if you drag it all the way to 1, then it's going to be just the effect by
it's like
itself.
fireworks.
If you drag it all the way to -1, it's going to be the original render. So if you wanted a nice blend between it, you could go like a -0.9 or something, and then you've got the starburst over the top of the original render. But if you want to blend this with something else, I find it best to actually drag the mix all the way to 1 so that we're just looking at the effect by itself. I
like,
can
so you
then
see
also,
what's
let me just
actually
quickly adjust the threshold
affected.
so that I'm only getting it in the really bright.
Right. So mix to 1. Where is that? Where actually is that? I don't have that. What the heck? Highlights. Lamp adjust strength. Saturation. I don't have the mix. Was that removed in a later version of Blender, perhaps? Glare mix missing, yeah. That's like the trouble with this, like a year old, so it's like Blender's updated since then, so it's like parts of it are all different. Mix was replaced by having the glare as a separate output you can use. Use a mix color node set to mix color node set? This? Hold on. Not that one. This? Is this what it wanted me to do? Or it's like what I have to do now? The mix. No, that does nothing. Huh. Okay, that's very weird then. Huh. Let's just like very slightly move that then. That's like already like way too much, like 0.045. Low. 0.1. Huh.
Right places. Yep, that's good. And then
Yeah, so that's so this polar part.
I can
like
blend it with
not gonna
another
work
effect that
then.
I want. So I'm going to hit Control Shift D, and that's going to duplicate it, but it's going to keep it connected to my render layer here. And then this one, I'm going to make the fog glow because
Control Shift D fog glow. Is that even one? Okay, that is that. Actually, let's make it even lower. Hi, buddy. Also, Donut. Welcome, Delta. How are you doing this fine day? We're just trying to figure this out, as always. Tricky since it's like this is like Blender 4.0 and it's like already on like 4.5 or whatever. Welcome. How are you doing, Delta? How has your Thursday been thus far? Hopefully, very cool. Mine's been all right. No complaints. Shift D. And where did he move it?
looking at reference, it's not just the starburst, but it's also got a like a glare,
Doing
like
good,
this
having dinner?
glow,
Nice.
blurry
What
glow
are you
coming
having?
off it. So the fog glow is that look, right?
I connect that image to image on viewer. Image on viewer. That's fog glow.
It's just that. And let's increase the size, I think. And let's set the quality to high.
Increase size and the quality. I don't see. If I do this, a rice, a hamburger made of meatloaf meat and carrots. Nice, very cool. Sounds tasty. Size at 0, that's why it's not doing anything. Let me see. What are you actually trying to do with this? So I can try and match.
Do we need high quality? Yeah, I think it looks better. All right. All right. So first, to blend this all together with the
All right, it's just like dots. I can't see it like that way just because like the different changes, so it's not even like there anymore, you know. And then wait, those are like they're like cutting off each other. Huh. Weird. So fog glow. Bring the strength up like that. Size. And that's like too high. But I don't know. It's like I can't really like figure this one out because it's like not even on this version of Blender normally.
render layer. What we want to do is just like you would do in Photoshop, if you would use a blend mode, you would set the blend to screen or add. We can do that
Right.
by blending with Shift A, color, mix color.
Shift A, color mix, combine color. Combine color. I don't know where he's going to set that yet.
Okay, so this we're going to drag in both of our glare effects.
Okay, both of the images. Onto the alpha? Mine? What? Maybe? But no, that only does one though. What the heck? Is he on like a different mode? Right, mix color.
Okay,
Yeah, that's what I did, but it's not. Right, color. Mix color. Okay, there we go. Let's move that one to there. That to there. Okay, there we go.
So this, we're going to drag in both of our glare effects.
I did that.
And then instead of mix, we're going to set it to add. So that
Change mix to add. There.
that will just basically ignore the black values, and it will just take the white values and combine them on the top of each other.
Okay, so then move that over to viewer. Here. That. And that's not quite good. I'll lower the strength of these. It's like already I like. Yeah, this doesn't work. What do you do after that?
All right. Now, the way Blender works, unlike Photoshop, where it's like top to bottom, in this case, it's bottom input up. So this factor value will define how bright the bottom input is. Okay. It's a little weird, I guess, in that respect, but so this is the strength of that bottom input.
Okay, so lower the factor part more. There. If I have all the way there. That's way too bright. Still too bright. Yet again, still too bright. It doesn't change it at all, so I might as well just like do like that, I suppose.
Yeah, so when you're blending something and you want to control it, you just put it into the bottom input. So the streaks, it's like it's way too heavy. So I just want to go to like a 0.2 or something like that.
Stuff.
Really, really subtle, even lower. Goodness. It's really heavy, this streak. I don't know why it is so bright, but I never want it as bright as it is. Okay, and now to blend it with the original render for my final trick, I duplicate that, drop it in here.
Duplicate it, move it to composite. Move that like there. That duplicates over there.
And put this into the bottom input. And
all right, hold on. Okay, so then that's... So to combine mix of one into the bottom there, I can move these like a little bit to make it a smidge easier. Move that, and then this. Right, so the image going to viewer and to composite. There. No, but then that takes out the thing. What the heck?
I'll connect this to my viewer. And then an old trick.
Wait a second.
I duplicate that, drop it in here, and put this into the bottom.
Put it into the bottom image. Oh, no, that part into the... into B. Is that correct? Is that... So the picture going to A, down to... Yeah, result onto B. And like the add image one. That's the result. So it'd have to be that, so yeah.
Input, and I'll connect this to my viewer.
And then the duplicated one going to composite and viewer. Composite and viewer.
And then let's set this to a 1. By the way, so the composite.
And set that to 1. I will not set that to 1. That makes that way messed up. There.
Maybe
I'm
I
not sure what
explained.
he's trying
Anyway,
to do
the
with
composite is going to be what's saved into your render. The viewer is just going to be what is displayed in your background here.
As long as I thought
So
it was
if
better
you
before,
don't have
so-
something connected into the composite, it's not going to be saved when you do the render. Okay, but that's pretty good. So that's how we've got a very
Is it
quick
pretty good?
glare effect over everything. It's a little heavy. I might just drop it back a bit because we want it to be just enough that you can see it,
It's
but
like hard
not
to
crazy.
do. It's like already all the menus are
By
all
the way, if
changed.
you want to zoom in your backdrop, you can hit V, will shrink the size.
All right, hold on. There we go. I figured to say that earlier. I couldn't figure that out. The
of
entire
it, and
part.
Alt V will zoom in. They really need a better one. I agree. I agree with that. It definitely could be better. I think you can control it like that. Okay, so if you hit your viewer node, you've got these little, you can do it like that as well. But yeah, V and Alt V, it's like a keyboard shortcut from the old days of Blender. And anyways, all right, dial it back. I don't want to go too heavy. Like the thing with post-processing when you're doing stuff in the compositor
I don't
is you
want
can
too
like...
much.
You just get distracted. You just get like hypnotized by the effect. And it's so common to have a render that a beginner has done that's actually pretty solid, but then they have just really hammed up the post-processing effect. So don't do that. Don't get overly obsessed with it because it's almost certainly overkill. You just need to dial it back
definitely will not get upset
to
with it.
like less than you're comfortable with, and then it's probably right. Because whilst you're adding it, you get really excited. Anyways, that's what I found myself. The other thing I'll show you is if we just bring up this bottom window. I
Bring up the bottom window. And mine only has summary, not all the
don't know why Dope
other
Sheet
stuff.
is the selected one. Makes no sense for the compositing layout. But if you click the little drop down in the top left, change it to 3D viewport.
It'll drop down. What the? Okay.
And now in rendered mode, click the little drop down next to it, and you should see at the bottom, you've got options for
A rendered mode compositor. Hold on, mine is like there. A rendered mode compositor. There. A compositor disabled, camera always.
compositor. So let's click always.
Okay. And I clicked always.
And what you'll see is that the compositing effects, what's happening up here, is now being composed
So you can see
live
changes
over
of
the
it,
top of
like on the actual
your
part
viewport.
itself.
And this is a very new feature. I think it's actually 4.0 is when it was officially added in. But it's huge because it means you can do and preview your effects whilst you're looking
Okay, I
around
can
your
see where that
scene.
would
So you
be-
could look at this,
be
like, hey,
handy.
I can see the exact amount of that glare that's coming off it. You could do, you can do crazy stuff in the compositing and it'll show through. Like as an example, there's a new Kawahara filter that looks like this kind of like painterly style. And you can, you can preview it like live.
Kuahara. See what that does. However, whichever one he clicked on for that. Kuahara. What do you connect that with? We're up to 2 image onto that one for the viewer. So that there. Viewer. Wow. Oh, no, it's doing like a bit of lag trying to do that. Control these that. If it will not crash or something. Taking a moment. Slow that down. Bit by one. Just do it like little bit by bit. Yeah, I can't really see much change of that. Let's try like 10, I suppose. Okay, so it gets like sort of like cartoony, or like painterly. Interesting. I'll delete that one now. Just move that back over there for the normal view.
In the 3D view, it's like I feel like I'm looking at a painting right now, right? It's really crazy that you can do this real time. So I'm really glad it's finally in there, because it's been talked about for like a year, I think was when it was first previewed. Wow. So it's really cool that it's finally in here. So one thing I will use it for actually is to check that the threshold that I've set for the fog and the streaks is actually correct. So I'm going to look through let's go to the streaks. I think streaks is it's a bit slow, yeah, but anyways, let's pull in here.
Can't do that part on mine because that node's no longer there.
Let's just take a look. I might have to add in a little bit. Okay, there we go. I have to add in a little bit of the original render so that I can actually see. But I just want to make sure that it's mostly coming through on the metallic objects. So I might actually try increasing. So you can see as it's like all the way at 0, you're just getting everything is going to get star beams. But then as I increase it slowly, it starts to disappear. And then the only thing that's really getting it is those metallic objects. And that's generally the look that I want to go for. So so I went for a much higher amount threshold for that.
Just have to wait.
Anyways,
what I could actually use.
You could have a different amount for the glow, but I think it's generally one and the same effect. So I think they should have the same threshold. So I'm actually going to just mouse over this and hit Control C, and then mouse over this and hit Control V. So that's how you can copy values. Let me just preview that. Yeah, the fog glow looks pretty good. Oh, it's on high. That's why it's going to be a little bit slow. If you set it to medium, I think it'd be a little bit more interactive. But anyways, the GPU compositing, I'll say, is very new. As I mentioned, it's this release. And it actually, for 4.0, the actual final render, like when you hit render and it creates the 2D image, it's actually still going to be using the CPU. Apparently in 4.1, maybe 4.2, it will change. It'll be fully GPU at that point. But until then, you will have like slightly longer render times just because of the compositor. Because the compositor has been famously slow in Blender for years. It's only just now that it's being improved. So we're not really going to do a lot with the compositor. Like I really generally think you don't want to go overkill. You can just add too many like bells and whistles to the compositor. But really, like if you want to do like drastic changes, you should try to do it in the scene, unless you're doing something crazy like Spider-Verse, in which case it's all stylized, right? True. But try to do it in the scene because I don't know. I feel like it can be more of like a crutch. You tend to like lean towards like, I'll fix it in the compositor. I'll improve it in the compositor, and it doesn't. One thing you might want to add is underneath, where is it? Transform lens distortion.
Transform lens distortion. Will I transform lens distortion? I don't know where he's gonna. But that's how I set it there for now.
Okay, if you add in this node, this can...
I put in it from image to viewer. Okay. Image, viewer. All right.
Replicate an effect that is actually in all cameras as well, and that's lens distortion, all right? So you can see... it actually makes more sense to actually see it on the 2D image.
Like
so I'll put that in the background there.
Kind of thing?
But basically where the edges of a shot, it's like if you take a photo with your iPhone on like a wide, it's most visible on like wider lenses, but the straight vertical things start to look bent. And it's barrel distortion, and there's no way to get around it unless you use a pinhole camera. It's kind of an interesting thing, but it's all because of the optics of the lens that bends the objects like that. Right. So anyways, it is in all objects. It does, though, because it's like a post effect, it does kind of blow. So it's like manipulating those pixels. So it means those pixels aren't going to be as sharp. So I generally don't like it for that reason. But if you wanted to, you could add this. Just keep it real.
Hold on. I'm trying to just like piecemeal adjust this, see just what it does. Zooming out. Then go inverse. A freaking vertigo mode. And then almond. Interesting. And I don't think I'll use that. It just adds like a weird,
really low, like a
weird effect
0.1 amount with fit, so that it doesn't get that TV screen look on the edges.
All right, 0.010 fit. 0.010 with fit. I can do that. Don't really see like much of a effect there.
And then the other thing you could add is a little bit of chromatic aberration. I'll show you just, yeah, this is what that does. So you can see, I'll show you just, yeah, this is what that does. So you can see, this is with it turned up a lot. You can see the edges of the objects, right? It has this kind of,
sort of like
the red
rainbowy.
and the cyan and the red and the yellow. It like towards the edges of it, it gets this, yeah, this kind of separation of the colors. And that is, again, a naturally occurring thing that happens with cameras because of the optics. And the cheaper the optics, the cheaper the lens, the more likely it's to happen. But it is there. I try not to use it because it can be very overused and very like, and it just makes it look cheap. Like, hey, this person just discovered there's the chromatic aberration. But if you are going to use it, go really low, like, because actually this, you have to think of the story of the shot. And someone has like framed the shot beautifully, got beautiful sunlight, right? This is a professional. Professional has taken this photograph of the donuts on the counter. They're not going to be using a cheap lens. So although there might be some chromatic aberration, it'll be very minimal. But if you want that, you know what, I'll keep it in. Yeah. Why not? We'll keep it in. But yeah, that's basically what I'm going to do for this. So this is my final node setup. If you'd like to copy it, add it. The final thing I'll mention as well is if you want to disable your compositor, like say you're doing some renders and you just want to see it without the post-processing effects on top of it, rather than having to come in here and then reconnect and disconnect a bunch of nodes. Instead, if you just go to your, the output property settings, way at the bottom, you've got post-processing. So if you just uncheck compositing, that means you're only going to be seeing the original render, and then check it again, and it's going to be kicking in whatever is in your compositing settings.
But
that's it for this video. Click here to watch the next part, and I will see you there.
Okay, we will go on to the next part. Let me... Part 11, part 12.
It's time to learn about animation.
Oh, doggy. Alright, so we will do that. However, I do need to do a quick be right back. Just gotta use the restroom. Let me switch this layout menu thing. Alright, there we go. Alright, yeah, so I will be right back. So don't go nowhere, unless you want to. I ain't gonna stop you. Alright, here we go. I'll just be a minute. Alright, I'm back. Just getting into my chair. Give me a moment. Gotta recalibrate the model. Alright, Shift R. There we go. I just need to get another water bottle. Okay. Let me get back to the right thing. There we go. Alrighty. Alright, part 12. Animation. And it's just gonna be like a camera sweep thing on this, I'm sure, but I am not the most excited to see this one. And also just like a general, like if you are new, sorry, it's like this one's like not as much like talking perhaps. It's just because it's like as it's like the learning tutorials, I'm like trying to like watch the tutorial on YouTube and like listen to it and figure it out, you know, so I don't like talk over it like too much. When it's actually like the gaming streams on like Tuesday and Saturday and stuff, I actually like talk more there, you know. All right.
Or more specifically, keyframe animation, because character animation with its rigs and bones and things is its own entire separate beast we're not going to get into. We're just going to do a very simple camera move. Specifically, we want the camera to start above the donuts and then fall down to reveal the final plate at the end, right? It's an excuse to learn about keyframing. Well, the basics of animation is really simple. If you go to the bottom of your screen, if you're in layout at the top, we can drag up on this divider here and you can see we've got a timeline, which if I click and drag across is currently doing nothing because there is no animation. So if we pull out, right, I'm just going to do a really simple animation to show you don't have to follow this because this is a different animation than what we're going to do.
I won't follow it.
Animation is really simple. You select the object that you want to apply a keyframe to, and then you hit I. I for insert keyframe, and you get this like scary looking menu. Apparently they're going to change this eventually, but for now you would place a keyframe.
I just want to say, did they change it eventually? Did they in fact do that? I don't know if they did. Didn't even seem like it pops up.
Animation's really simple. You select the object that you want to apply a keyframe to, and then you hit I.
Yeah, camera I keyframe. I. Man, nothing popping up with that. It is that, but that's all. So that's
I for insert keyframe, and you get this like scary looking menu. Apparently they're going to change this eventually, but for now you would place a keyframe on what it is you're planning to animate. So in this,
okay, 1 second. 1 environment camera, 0 scene collection camera. Yeah, that's the same thing.
Case, it's the location, right? So I want to move the camera location. Then I change my frame count to be the frame I want it to end at. Then I move the object how I want it to move right there. And then I add another keyframe, I, and then say location. And now as I play it back, which I can do by hitting spacebar, you can see that the camera is moving. Haha, look at us. Right? A very simple camera move. Now, I don't actually want that though, so I'm going to delete those keyframes. And what we want is, we want what I showed you at the start. We want our camera to start up here, right? Rotated, pointing down this way. Right. And then we want it to move in an arc in this direction.
Move down that way.
Terrible arrow. Pointed this way.
That better
right?
arrow than
Now
I
you
can
could
make.
do this. You
Beat yourself
could
up over
move
it.
the camera up there. You could then re-rotate it to point it down and then do a keyframe for the location, the rotation, and then do another one over here. But it would be very difficult to control that movement. And really, this is a rather simple
certain that'd be
movement
very
if we
difficult.
have a pivot object. If we have something here and then we parent that camera to that object and then we just rotate that object, it's a lot easier. So what we need to add is, first of all, I want to think, what do I want to be the center of it? What do I want to be, where do I want that
just right
pivot
behind, like,
object?
the
So I think somewhere roughly in the middle of these donuts. So right here, I'm going to hold down Shift and then right click.
Shift and right click in like the middle. Bring in there, so like shift right click there, or there.
And that's going to put my 3D cursor.
Oh, they're in object mode. I'm in object mode also. But it might not have like all the extra dots and stuff on it. Oh, there we go. I had the X-ray on. That's what it was.
Right where I've put it. And now to add an object, Shift A, and I'm looking for empty. So an empty, I mean, if you're familiar with other creative tools, you probably already know, but it's just something, it's similar to a null object in After Effects, etc. It's just something that's going to be in the 3D viewport that won't be rendered, okay? A number of options here. It doesn't matter which one you choose. You can go plane axes, and then if you went to the options here.
So Shift A, plane axes. Okay.
Here, the data, you could change the display here to what we saw before.
And, like,
but this is just like a different display object, right? Depending on what you're looking for. I think the sphere is actually the most useful.
Change that to sphere. Wait, hold on. Why is it? I was on cycles. I thought it was for Eevee. What's in this? The data circle. Well, not circle, sphere. Sorry. Here, it looked like it was like a lot bigger. So do. I mean, it's that they might change it after, but like I'm just trying to go with what it's looked like.
It's way too big
this.
currently, so I'm going to change the size.
Okay.
To be something about that.
Okay, so actually much slower then. So like, damn it, G. And Y. I'm gonna save it like that. Scale that down. Down further. Okay, there it looks about.
And there we go. Okay,
about the same.
so now what we need to do is we want to parent our camera to this new empty object. So select the camera first, then Shift select that new empty that we've.
Okay. So camera first. Shift select there. Okay, it is selected. Good.
Just created, and then I'm going to hit Control P and then set parent object keep transform, just like what we did.
Okay, Control P. Object keep transform.
With the icing and the donut. So now you should see, if you select that empty, and as I rotate it around, the camera will rotate with it.
Let me make sure that does that. It does. Good. Good, good, good.
And if you look through the camera with numpad 0 and then just double tap R, you can see that I can trackball rotate around it. And you can see this is like way more flexible for what we want. We want the camera to be focused on one point, and then we just want to move the camera around that point. And you can do some really nice, fast camera moves here if you wanted to do something snazzy. In our case, we're going to do a nice, simple, slow movement. So first of all, this angle, this look that we've got right here is where we want the final reveal to be. So this is where I want.
Let me see. Even through that. Alright, that's right. That's like a good final shot. Actually, can I move like the... Oh, how do I... Oh, let me get out of camera mode. Can I move those a little bit? It appears I cannot. I went to this. And make sure this is still paired. So I didn't like hit. Okay, still connects to it. Good, good. Yes, that's how I want it to look, right?
The end point, the end keyframe of my animation to be. So you can make your animation as long as you want. I think about 160 frames is about right for this sort of the speed of this animation. So on frame 160 there, you can see it's also mentioned there. I'm going to, with my empty selected, not my camera, I'm going to hit I and then not select location like I did before, but rotation, because we're...
And so I have it empty selected I, but that doesn't go to that part now. Insert keyframe menu. Is that like change to a different shortcut? Not existed. K? Okay, weird. Okay. I mean, it makes more sense for like K for a keyframe, but all right. All right, look, that was an easy fix.
I'm going to hit I and then not select location like I did before, but rotation, because we're going to be just rotating that pivot point, not changing its position. So rotation. Then I'm going to go to the first frame, which I could do by clicking and dragging, or shift left arrow will...
Okay, so K, rotation. And then shift left arrow all the way to the start. Good.
Jump you to the first frame, or you can click these little, I don't know what you call that button.
I never did any
jump
of the
to end point.
You
can do that as well. And now that I'm here, I'm going to rotate this along not the tilt axis, which it is by default, but the X axis. Aha, right. So
RX. X. Oh, hold on. No, not that. RX. If I do this, so I have like more of an easier way to do it. Cause it seems like it's from the point you do it, it's like dependent on like the start point of the mouse. If I do it like right here, try to move it there, it's like very precise. But if I do it like from like here, it's like a lot more room until it gets to the middle. So it's like more like a more precise stuff, as far as I can tell.
Now you can see we are doing that exact move we want. And in the top left-hand corner, you can see the exact number of degrees. And I'm going to go with exactly -90. So if you hold down,
Let me move that a bit more. That's good. Control. And I'll go back to that. X. Okay, good. No, it looks right. Just like
control, you can see it's snapping to -90. And then I'm going to click. Okay, now before I change my frame, if I was to change the frame, you can see it's just snapped me back to where I were. So always remember, you have to create a keyframe if you've changed its movement without saving it or without putting in a new keyframe. So back up to here, -90, and I'm going to hit I and then say rotation.
Okay, so I think I already clicked off from that. So do S, X. I'll do it from like here. RX to do that. control for the precise. Click there, rotation.
Okay, and now we should see, if we hit spacebar to play, a very, very simple animation.
Let me try this. Hey, it's moving. It all worked.
Okay.
First animated
Now,
thing I've done.
we can tweak this though. We can improve this because you can see that for one, it's a little awkward that the camera starts in a completely stationary stop position, then it ramps up and then it slows down towards the end. It's a little bit of a weird camera move. What I want instead is I want it to start, I already want it to be moving, right? Like almost like it's from another shot that's kind of faded into this one. I want it to start moving and then to much more slowly fade it out than it is currently, because you can see it just kind of like drops down here and then the camera just stops and it's a little too sudden. And while you could change the keyframes here, like you can do some very simple handle type changes, this view, this layout view is not the best place to do this. So instead, if you go to the animation tab at the top.
Right, yeah, another tab. Animation tab. All sorts of stuff, okay.
There, you can see it's rearranged all your screens.
All right, hold on. Not sure what I did. 1 second, let me pop back here. Dang, I removed it. Crud. Yeah, darn it. That's okay. Rotation. Move the shift left, do this. Rotate X fully there. And then K rotation. Okay, that part's back to normal. I hit Control Z when I went to like the menu thing. In case this had to be like a specific spot, but it might just be like how part of it's displayed.
This over here is just another 3D view. Over here is the camera view. But at the bottom here, you can see we've changed from the timeline, which is what we had before, and it's changed to a dope sheet. So a dope sheet is just going to show you more information about the keyframes. So for example, you can see that the X rotation has a dot over here and a dot over here, but the Y and the Z has a different look. It's got a continuous line across it. And that's to show you that this actually hasn't changed. The Y and the Z has no information that's changed from the start to the end. So we don't actually need these keyframes. So I only need the X rotation. So I'm going to select the Y and the Z, and I'm just going to delete them just by.
Okay. Let's delete the Y and X.
Hitting the delete key. So we've now just got one channel that the animation is happening on. Right, but we can't really change.
I'm going to do the timeline. But it's not moving this screen. I think as I clicked off on it. Does it still do if I do layout? No, that still does it. An animation.
Change it. We can't make it so this starts faster and then this slows down from this view. Instead,
global. How do I fix that view to actually do the rotation change like it's supposed to?
we need to change to a different view. So in the top left-hand corner, click this, and we're going to change the window type to be graph editor.
Okay. Top left, graph editor. Okay.
Okay, so the graph editor looks like this. So I'm going to use middle mouse to pan around here. And you can see we've now got a line, right, with some handles on it, which is a lot easier to understand, but it's hard to get it all in the view. So you could hit the home key, and that will automatically reorient everything to position it in the view. Or if you hold down Control and middle mouse button, this enables you to just moving around, just dragging around, Control.
So Control middle mouse. There. There we go. Little
middle mouse
easier
button
to
will
read.
change the axes zoom as well as the Y, right, up and down like that, which is just a really handy way to quickly orient yourself around.
wobble
So
that
Control
line
middle
around.
mouse to change this, and then you can middle mouse to pan to a different area.
Mouse click around,
Okay,
right?
so again, making sure I'm looking.
And do it to home, though. Let me see what that one... home? What's the... Wait, isn't like the Windows key the home key? Home key. Blender. What is a home hotkey? Which one is it? Like, I have Windows key, but it didn't do that. What is the home button? 1738. What? Wrong tab? German keyboard. I don't have a German keyboard. FN and tapping the up arrow key. Okay, let me save this just to be sure. FN, wherever there's FN up arrow. And that just does that. Okay, I just have to stretch that along with the control then.
Looking at the X rotation there, right? And if we look, you should
The X rotation there. I have a lot more stuff than he does for some reason.
see the problem that we have, right? We have the start of the animation. It's a very slow curve that's going up. It picks up speed in the middle, and then it ends here. And the end is a little abrupt considering the amount of movement that it has. So really, we want this line instead to look a little bit closer to this line, right? Or even, I mean, that was kind of a bad line. Pull it rather like that. Okay, that's the kind of look that we want. So with our starting keyframe here, I'm going to use the same hotkey that you use everywhere, and that's R, to just get that angle to look a lot closer to what I want. Don't go too far up. If you go like vertical, you'll see that the start is like so abrupt. It's almost like it's like skipping down or something.
Too shocking like that. Let's see, which one is it? X, so R's not moving it. Hold on. R not a rotating keyframe, not keyboard. Yeah, it's being like a year old does not help with tutorial at all.
So I don't want it's like so abrupt. It's almost like it's like skipping down or
I have
something.
it selected on empty overall. And hitting R there doesn't do anything. And that just opens all of that. Yeah, R's not moving that. R's not moving that. Okay, yeah, R's not moving that. What the heck?
So I don't want it to be that far. I'm going to rotate a little bit out like that. So there's a little bit of a the kind of look that we want. So with our starting keyframe here,
have it
I'm going to use the same hotkey that you use
highlighted.
everywhere, and that's R, to just get that angle to look a
But that's not adjusting it. I can't even. Okay, there we go. Like, oh, that's like going like. I do it like. What? Okay, that did it, but it moved like the whole thing.
lot closer to what I want. Don't, and that's starting.
Oh, no, it's at. Now we're at 1. Yes, we're at 1. That's right.
Keyframe here. I'm going to use the same hotkey that you use everywhere, and that's R, to just get that angle to look
R,
a
but it doesn't move, or it doesn't just move that part. Oh, there we go. We're doing like that, kind of.
lot closer to
And
what I
like a
want.
little
Don't go
adjustment
too
with
far
that.
up. If you go like vertical, you'll see that the start is like
Hold on. Yeah, I can't see it on this. Like I messed up that one part. How would I fix that so I can actually see the moving of it in this little menu? Animation there. Wait, where did it? What? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? What the heck? A view? Wait, where'd it go? Where's the freaking node graph thing? Channel, keep, marker, view? Sliders? No. Why is it now gone? What the heck? Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, there we go. Just had to click on the rotation thing again. That. There. Let's see. Animation. Left window back to camera view, maybe it would be selected? Or how you search it? Animation. A menu left screen back to camera. Only left screen doesn't change. I don't want to switch back to default view. A lock camera in view and sidebar. Editor type 3 preview port. Options? No. Huh. Oh yeah, so it works on there. It's just like the good view, but how do I get that back for for this window? I have no idea.
so abrupt, it's almost like it's like skipping down or something. So I don't want it to be that far. I'm going to rotate a little bit out like that. So there's a little bit of a harsh movement, but not too.
It there. On this. It clicks like here. What do you click on to do that?
Abrupt, it's almost like it's like skipping down or something. So I don't want it to be that far. I'm going to abrupt, it's almost like it's like skipping down or something. So I don't want it to be that far. I'm going to
left click on one. But that doesn't... I can't select it with that. Huh. Scale that. There, is that right? No, that just like changed the whole thing. Which is not what I'm trying to do. Now, that's the whole part. The layout. Alright, yeah, that'll have to work because I can't figure out that part.
Rotate a little bit out like that. So there's a little bit of a harsh movement, but not too harsh, if you know what I mean. There we go, something like that.
Like,
Harsh movement, but not too harsh, if you know what I mean. There.
Axular location, like clicking on the axular location. Yeah, so that just rotates like the whole thing. I just want to do like a little section of it. I don't want to like do it like... Looks like it already like how it was though. So I do not understand that.
There we go, something like that. And then for this end bit,
It's like more of like a direct kind of line. I can't like, what the... Let's try... Like that? I know that's still like way slower. And it goes back up a bit. So that's not right. Animation. Yeah, like the end part got like cut off when I did that. Can I just like move that to like 120 actually? Maybe that'll work easier? Maybe. Doesn't seem like it stays selected there though. Shift A, not Shift A, Shift left. Yeah, I had like way too like slow there, but like if I adjust that, that like moves it out of the like the right time frame thing.
you can see it ends rather suddenly. Maybe you disagree, but I found when I looked at the animation, it was rather sudden. So this final endpoint here, I'm going to scale it out by hitting S. So again, same hotkeys work all across Blender,
So you click at the end and
which is very nice.
S at 160. Don't know how you're... don't know how you select just that one part. And the dots on that's like a different line. Let me save this just in case. If I can't go back any further than that. From here. Now, so that's on the X location. Let's see. I should go like a little softer than that. I'll click it like here. Not the whole thing, just like this specific section. Like scale lightly like that. It seems like
Awesome. So
About
now if I play it
right.
back, you should see it moves rather fast at the beginning and then slowly tapers out towards the end to an
Yeah, mine's like way too much of a taper. So it's going like negative 80 there. Yeah, it's like mine's like way too much of a like immediate slowdown.
by hitting S. So all of a sudden, so this final endpoint here, I'm going to scale it out
How do
by
you
hitting
click on
S.
that?
So again, same hotkeys work all across Blender, which is movement, but not too harsh, if you know what I mean. There we go, something like that. And then for this end bit, you can see it ends rather suddenly. Maybe you disagree, but I found when I looked at the animation, it was rather sudden. So this final endpoint here, I'm going to scale it out by hitting S. So again, same hotkeys work all across Blender.
But how do you select it though? And do an S that moves that. And the Y location. I'm just clicking on the Z one, I suppose. And like that, how does that look? Not quite right either.
Which
But
is
I
very
can't figure
nice.
out how to do it.
Awesome. So
It's like out of
now,
date
if I
too,
play
so
it
it's
back,
like
you should see
it's a year
it moves
old, so it's like
rather
not even
fast at the
fully set
beginning
up with, like, the current
and then
Blender version.
slowly tapers out towards the end to a nice soft landing, which is really cool. And that's pretty well, yeah, that's a pretty good animation. Now we could stop here, but the other thing we could do to get a little bit more motion in it is we could have the camera start closer to the donuts and then pull out as it goes further away. I hate that this keeps interrupting. I'm going to hide that. Okay, there we go. Select my pivot. There we go. So essentially we could have it so that it starts, like the camera starts right about here and then it pulls out, and then as it pulls out, it goes a little bit further away and like ends back here. So have a think about how you would do that. How would you have the camera start like closer to the pivot point? Right? Now you might think, well, okay, we could animate the camera pulling in closer, but that would be overly complicated. We can just use the same pivot point, but we can scale it. Because you can see if I hit S, look at that, the camera goes closer, and if I...
This is gonna be really hard if I don't have that, like, that upper window thing. Let me try something this and then split area. What was like the command for that? I should did it before. Blender split menu. Yeah, split view. Define a window. It's like 2018. Splitting, drag in the area. Split. How did he do that? Vertical split. There we go. Yeah, no, it's still just like the same thing. Oh, maybe if I do that. Okay, there we go. And maybe like from here, if I do that. Oh, then it takes it out of it. Alright, so not exactly, but that like sort of does it. Okay. And then like this part of it specifically. A small, as you had like straight up like that. A little more of a rotation there. And like scale that. How do you meant? Maybe. Oh. Ah, crud, where'd it go? There we go. Maybe. It's hard to say for sure. 'Cause it's like done by this point, which it goes to the 160 still. If I do that, and just like delete that one. Like edit off there. Animation, it should do like the same part. Frame 120, yeah, it seems correct. Oh yeah, so the scale.
Pull it out, you can see the camera moves faded. We have
Right, so
the camera start closer to the pivot point, right? Now you might think, well, okay, we could animate the pivot point, but we can scale it. Because you can see if I hit S, look at that, the camera goes closer. And if
what do you have selected for this though?
I pull it out, because you can see if I hit S, look at that.
S on the pivot. And it like moves the size from there. Like a little further out. Okay.
The camera goes closer, and if I pull it out, you can see the camera moves further away. So what I want to do is I want to go to the final endpoint here, the frame 160, which, by the way, you can jump to an existing keyframe just by using the up and down arrows. So if I go up, you can see it's that keyframe.
Oh, let me see. Okay, that's cool.
Or down, it takes me to the front. So I want to go here, and I want to create a keyframe.
So I go to the end there.
Just for the scale information. So here, because this is the end view that I want, so I'm going to hit I and then say not rotation, but scale. So
K scale. K scale. Okay.
Now I'm going to go to the front of the animation.
Front of the animation. There we go, front of the animation.
And I'm going to scale it in to get a nice close-up of the donuts right there.
Okay, scale it in. Like there, it should.
There. And then I'm going to add another keyframe, I, and then scale. So
right, keyframe scale. There.
You should now see in your graph editor, that's what it's called, you should see your rotation information and then your scale information.
Rotation information, scale information. Yep, I got those.
Now you'll note that the scale is like where is the scale information? It's here, but it's so small, like the amount of variance here, it's so small that it's just not readable. And the reason for that is that it's trying to combine two different data types into one view, right? Because rotation is happening on you can see here, it's I just wrote over the top of it. It's 0 degrees, and then down here you've got minus 90. So this is a minus 90, right? But then up here we've got scale that's happening between a 0 range and like a 1 range, which is right next to it. Okay, so 1, you could just hide your rotation, or you can click on normalize. And normalize.
Click on normalize. Okay.
Will put everything between a 0 to 1 range. But just know that when you're in this range, if you try to move a keyframe to be a different value, like you took your scale and then you moved it down, when you confirm it, it'll snap back to where it was. And that's because with normalize on, it'll always put everything between 0 to 1. So don't do it if you're planning to change a value of something, normalize. But otherwise, it's okay to use for changing the handles, like in this case.
Right.
But I'm going to hide my rotation anyway, because it
hides the rotation. There we go.
It's just going to get in the way. And instead, you can see that X, Y, and Z all have information in them because, of course, we're not scaling it on any particular axes. It's across all three axes at once because it's like it's the uniform value of scale.
Right.
So again, I could do the same thing here. I could rotate this. I don't want there to be too much.
So he did like a... rotate. Okay, that works for that part. Okay.
Of a difference. Like, it's actually pretty good by default. Like, the scale isn't as noticeable that it slowly ramps up.
Right.
And it's good to have like a kind of a softer movement as it pulls away. But I do want to change it a little bit. I'm going to select
like
these final endpoints. I'll scale that out a little bit as well, just so that it's a little like have like default. Like, the scale to be all three axes at once because it's like it's the uniform value of scale.
Like a straight-ish line for that.
So again, I could do the same thing here. I could rotate this.
Yeah, just a smidge. Smidge like that. Is it like a...
I don't want there to be too much of a difference. Like it's actually pretty good by default. Like, the scale isn't as noticeable that it slowly ramps up. And it's good to have like a kind of a softer movement as it pulls away. But I do want to change it a little bit. I'm going to select these final endpoints. I'll scale that out a little bit as well. Just
scale it out a smidge. For all of those, scale. I started too close from the thing. And there. Just like sort of like that. It looks...
so that's a little softer as it scales out. And that...
oh, it looks like much faster on like the one I got. Like... this. Yeah, it's like a bit too much. Okay, that works. Alright, select that again, hide those, bring back the scales. Okay.
That is pretty good, folks. Now, you'll note as I play through this that in the top left-hand corner of the screen, you've got FPS.
Hold on, let me switch to layout. Yeah, FPS like solidly like 24 to 26. There we go. Yeah, so that's frames per second.
Which stands for frames per second. If you
I
play video games, you're
I know what FPS
well
means.
familiar with that term. And you can see as we play through it, it can't really make up its mind.
Stands
it's
for
like
front
24, no, 25, 26, 20, 24. I think it's just a readout glitch in Blender. It's actually a constant 24 frames per second by default. But for whatever reason, it's kind of like fluctuating between them. Anyway, point is you can change that amount by going to your output settings over.
Output settings, like the little printer kind of looking thing. That's totally what it looks like.
Here, and then underneath format, you've got frame rate.
Format frame rate.
Now, for whatever reason, Blender chose 24 frames per second, which is really only used for feature film. Everyone else, for like TV or
like
YouTube, it's 30 frames per second.
standards.
You can also go 60 frames per second if you wanted to really pay for longer render times, because it means things have to be, you have to render like twice as many frames, but it means things are buttery smooth. You won't actually see it right now because I'm recording this tutorial at 30 frames per second. Anyways, really, the options that most people choose are 24 for cinema and feature films, 30 if you're a normal person and you're making things for internet or YouTube or anything, and then 60 if it's for like 3D content or something that has to be really, really smooth.
Exactly.
Anyways, we're going to set it to 30 because that is the more standard frame rate for most things. I know people like to argue, but yes, 30 is, in my opinion, a much more reasonable frame rate for most things. And the final thing you'll note as we play through this is that it gets to frame 160 and then it just kind of pauses for a bit until it gets to frame 250 and then it loops back. And that is because the end frame is set to 250. So if we set this to 160 instead, which is what our animation ends at, you can see it will now play through and it'll get to the end and then it will loop back to the start. And also if you want to like reset
There we go.
this.
Hold on, let me make sure I got that right. Okay, yeah. Yeah, we got it. There we go.
This view in your timeline, you can hit the home key and that'll like expand it out a little bit.
I don't really have the home key, but
so that
know what you mean.
is basically our final animation. You can tweak it. You can make it look a little bit more polished than what I have here, because when I'm recording a tutorial, I can only do so much before people get bored. But that's pretty good. It's not bad. So we are nearing the end. Go ahead, click here to join me in what might be the final part, where we're going to do rendering and forming that that final animation.
Rendering.
So click there, and I will see you there.
An even longer one.
We've got the donuts. We've got the...
Give me a quick second. I just gotta check something really quickly. Also, I gotta get a quick drink of water. I advise you to do the same if you're thirsting. There we go. I'm just checking the thing. Okay. Bringing back the menu. Or not the menu, but the a drinking liquid death's nice. Yeah, I've never had that myself. I have heard of it though, just like the Steve-O like podcast talking about it. That's just blah. That strikes me as weird though. Like I'm guessing it's like apparently part of it's like the can is like easier to recycle or something. I don't know. Just like I feel like it wouldn't be. Like for some reason, I feel like just like the plastic is like easier for recycling than like metal cans. I don't know why. Like it's probably like easier just like melt down like the metal, but just I don't know, water in a metal can, it just like hits my head wrong for some reason. And some Baja Blast, nice. Very cool. Can't go wrong with a Baja Blast. I enjoyed it. I like that they made it like no longer just a Taco Bell exclusive. You have it like in the store now. I like it. I think I got Mountain Dew today. I'm not sure. I might be like thinking of 7-Up. Maybe, but nice. Sounds quite good. Hold on, what's it called? Like that old, like a jazz, I think. Like I always think of this as like a Baja Blast, with that nice classic, like the blue with the stripies. I like that look. It just throws you right back to the 90s when you see that. Okay. Let's see. Right now it's 8:50. I did start like 25 minutes later, so I might have time for this one too, or I might have like stopped like partway.
The animation. Now it's time to...
Also, let me make sure I actually turn the screen back on. I did. Okay, cool.
To do our final lovely render. So we are rendering using the Cycles rendering engine, which, to jog your memory from the rendering video, the way it works is, turning off denoise, is it starts with a very noisy image with a low sample count, and then over time, you can see in the top left there, it throws more samples at it, and it refines that image to be cleaner and cleaner, essentially. Okay, so if we were to set this maximum sample...
Sure, actually. Real-time renders like faster overall render speed. So yeah, I'll stick with like Eevee for that then.
Count to a really absurdly low value. Like, so if we were to set this maximum sample count to a really absurdly low value, like say 10 samples, you could see it renders very quickly, right? It's done almost instantaneously.
Like that, though,
but it's so noisy that you can't see any of the detail.
Now, out all the stuff.
There is the magical denoise function, which we will be using. However, that is not... It does solve a lot. It's definitely helpful, but it's not perfect, especially for animations, because on...
All right, hold on 1 second. Leave the camera view. Go in there. Render sampling. Hold on, what page are you on? Sampling viewport above render. There we go. Hey, 16 samples. Wait a minute. Something strange here. It's in object mode. And on that, I'm on object mode in this. It's like actually like moving. I'm not gonna do that, just like doing it for a second. Yeah, so it's doing that. Eevee. Well, the cycle has the lighting. But why doesn't Eevee? I'm just not available in Eevee? Hold on. Uh, Sunlight source. Eevee? This is way too low. Nishida. Huh. Weird. It's an elevation. But yeah, do that so I can see the end of it. Center rotation 2271. No, earlier than that. There. Let's go the other way. All that way. What is that? Pratham? Like a nighttime kind of one? Stick with the Nishida. I was just curious what that was. Let's see if I do. How do I find it? Shadows. Where is it? A view layer. I should have for this just for a second. Yes, and that was like the light. Back to how that was. I can't see it from there. Yeah, so that does the light. Then why is that not there anymore with Eevee? It's like the Eevee's faster, so I want to use that one. Uh, huh. Alright, very weird. There's a rotation a little bit. Taller than 9.4 just by a smidge. that. Okay. I'll leave the view.
On using.
Rewind just a
However,
second.
that is not. It does solve a lot. It's definitely helpful, but it's not perfect, especially for animations, because on each frame, the sample variation, even though it's set to be stable, there will be variances frame to frame. So if you're using a low sample count, this AI denoiser, it will do its best, but it'll still have like splotchy patterns that will appear. And you can actually notice it if you go looking for it. Like the other day, I was watching one of Mr. Beast's videos, and there was like an animation in it. And I was looking at it and I saw like all this splotchy stuff like on the sides. And I was like, oh, damn, that team must be on like a really tight deadline because they did not have time to render out the proper samples. But anyways, so I did a few tests for this exact scene here. You can see this is with 20 samples. You zoom into the back.
Hold on. Samples, max samples 100. I got
background there. You can see splotchiness. It's especially noticeable in out of focus areas, which I'll show you how to do that out of focusness soon. But you can see it's very splotchy and you wouldn't ever want to use it. 50 starts to look a little more stable, but still the splotchiness is very noticeable.
Like
you don't want that. 100,
like that.
This is where it's starting to look usable, but still not great. I wouldn't consider that good. 300 samples is where I consider the bare minimum for a scene like this. But ideally, you would be able to go up to 500 samples, which is where a lot of that splotchiness is so negligible that you don't really notice it. And if you have time or you don't mind rendering, overnight or something like that, or maybe a couple of overnights,
I can't really do that.
1,000 samples will get you an even cleaner looking result. So for my max sample amount, I'm going to go with 500. And by the way, there is viewport and there is render, and these settings are identical. I was tweaking viewport before because I was showing you in the viewport, but obviously it's what's in the render settings, which is going to be saved into your final animation. There is also noise threshold, also known as adaptive sampling. And the way this works is it will try to look at the image and determine which areas are already clean enough, and then which areas need more samples, like dark areas where there's not enough light or something, and it'll throw more samples specifically into that area. And it's very efficient, and I would love to use it. Unfortunately, it doesn't play well with the denoiser. With the denoiser, it can create splotchy areas, which are not good, obviously. So if you're using the denoiser, which, let's face it, is probably 99% of the time, then you can't really use the noise threshold. At least as far as I've seen, I haven't seen it work reliably enough. So uncheck noise threshold. Samples, I went with 500. Try to go, if you're on a laptop, maybe 300, but try to go up from there and you'll get a nice clean result. There's also time limit. I almost never use this, but this just puts like a cap on each frame. So if, I don't know, the samples was gonna take the image to like 25 seconds to render, if you set your time limit to be 20 seconds, it would just stop at whatever sample count 20 seconds gives it, and then it would move on to the next frame. But as I said, I almost never use it. I just want to use the exact sample count. Awesome. Now you might remember previously that when you want to do a render, you go render image, or you hit F12, and then this will kick off a single still render. And then from here, if I wanted to save this image, I would go image save as. Well, what we want to do is we want to render a sequence, like every single frame. And so to do that, we want to use not just render, but render animation. And when you do that, it will use and it will save the file for you in whatever you put in the output settings over here. So if we bring this out over here, you can see your resolutions defined up there. You got your
format. Okay, I got that selected.
Frame rate, yada yada, the output one here. So this is the folder where it's going to save the file to, and then your file format, I'll just move this up, this is a really important one. Now you would think that because we want to create a video file, right, that you could upload to Instagram or YouTube or whatever, that you would want to use one of these movie settings, maybe an AVI or an FFmpeg or something like that. But you would not. You would be wrong. But it's a common mistake a lot of beginners make. The reason you don't want to ever render a scene directly into this format is that if at any point during the rendering process your computer was to crash, or let's face it, Windows was to do another update overnight and you can never figure out when it's going to do it and it just does it randomly. And anyways,
all those.
if it was to do that, you would lose everything. Everything that you have rendered has just vanished because it will not have created any file that you can actually read. So instead, you always render to still images. Okay, so you want every single one of these frames to create a PNG and then put it into the output folder there, which you will then later take that sequence of 300 PNG images, let's say, or it's 160 in this case, and then put that into another process, which I'll show you, to create that final video file. So PNG is actually pretty good for most cases. If you want to go a slightly higher quality, you could use TIFF. If you really know what you're doing, you could use OpenEXR. But the problem with that is that it will not use, it won't embed like a display transform in it. So it'll save it into linear format. Technical jargon just to say it's going to look terrible if you don't know what you're doing with it. So generally speaking, PNG or TIFF is the one you want. Never JPEG. The compression on that is terrible unless you're just throwing a still image up on Facebook or something.
Outdated now.
But PNG or TIFF, that's fine. And the color depth, you could go 8 or 16 bits. 16 bits will give you a lot more range, but it will be larger files. Unless you're planning to do color grading and something like After Effects or Nuke or something, I wouldn't bother with 16-bit. 8 should be fine. So you set your output folder to be something that makes sense. I usually just create a folder called frames.
Output folder. How do you do that? What do you click on?
Folder to be something that makes sense. I usually just create a folder called frames. And then within here, I just create another subfolder.
Oh, it's like a little folder button there. Okay. Frames. Except that one. Okay.
I call it like 1, just because you almost always need to render multiple times. But anyways, you create a subfolder called 1, and then I just kick off the render by going render animation. But before you do that, it is a good idea to check your scene to make sure that you haven't got any mistakes, because you're going to be rendering, and usually you're rendering overnight or maybe a sequence of days, and you don't want to have to go through the whole process of rendering only to bring it up and then go like, oh crap, I forgot to turn on that layer, or I forgot to fix that problem, or I didn't notice this before I did the render, and then you have to do the whole thing all over again. So here's a checklist. First, in solid view mode.
Solid view mode. There we go.
Click this little drop down next to your viewport overlays and then go
drop down viewer overlays. Okay. But it goes away, but I'll
face orientation. Now what this is showing
face orientation. Okay, mostly all red, no blues.
You is which faces are facing the correct direction. So the face is the solid part of the mesh and it's like paper thin, right? But there is a correct direction and there is a wrong direction. So the correct direction is the direction that the camera and the shader expects to see, and it can render correctly. If it's showing you the opposite side of the face, it means that the shading is likely to get screwed up. So if you see anything in your scene that is red, it means that it is facing the wrong direction, okay? So in this case, it thought that the kitchen should be rendered outside, right? Because it was a cube that we started with, so it puts the faces outside it, because it wouldn't know that we want to render inside it. So in this case, if you have a red face like this, you select it, select everything on the mesh just by tapping A, and then you want to hit Shift N, okay? Now that
Shift N on the box. Shift N
should fix it. If it doesn't, because on the case you want to have it facing inwards, like in this case, if it doesn't, because on the case you want to have it facing inwards, like in this case.
I'm on edit mode. Am I on edit mode? I'm on object mode. Okay. Shift N. Okay, there we go.
This little
Okay,
recalculate normals box here, if you click
Right.
that, you can then click the checkbox that says inside.
Okay, click that for inside. Oh, I guess, okay, maybe it's like different now, I guess. So it's like, just so if it's like wrong, it's red, but it's not like blue for everything else. Okay.
Or a hotkey for it is Control-Shift-N, and that will do a recalculation inside. Anyways, long story short, you just want to make sure that everything you see is blue. If you've got anything, a sprinkle or, you know, a donut or a plate or anything like that, just make sure everything is showing up as blue.
Okay, everything is blue. Control-Shift-N. Can I just like do that? Don't like it red from a distance, but once like closer, it's like actually like normal. Where's the Control N? And select. Oh, hold on. Inside. So I think they're going on. I scoot back more. I was like, it's red from there, but not when you like zoom in. Weird.
Because that's very important. All right, so now that's done.
On the blender. Here we go. The blender face. Turning red from distance, maybe. Flip side to the cameras. The normal face orientation only shows red now. I could do like a settings for it to still be blue. Okay.
I can turn that off. The other thing that you want to check is that you haven't got any rogue objects that will be showing up in the render that you don't want to be
there.
there.
The sprinkles you fool.
Like, for example, this weird looking little UFO thing.
Yeah,
right? These little sprinkles that are just
that.
hovering off into space here. So that is because we've got some sprinkles which are being referenced on our geometry node stack. But we don't want these individual ones which are being referenced to appear in the render. So on the sprinkles collection, I'm just going to uncheck this little camera icon, and that means it's viewable in the viewport, but it's not going to appear in the render. This will not affect the objects over.
That's interesting. Sprinkles, I could do that, but then that, so it's not. Okay, that's cool. So you could still like actually see it there, but it doesn't show up there.
Here, when it's referenced in a geometry node system, it's just going to treat that as its own separate thing, and it's not going to hide it from the render. But it just means that these 5 little reference sprinkles will be invisible in the render. The other thing that you want to check is to look at your intersections, okay? Because looking at my donut, look at that. Wow, I've got a massive intersection. And this would be noticeable because the camera is now moving and it is above it, right?
Hold on, let me... intersection. No, I took care of that part already when I was like doing like other adjusting and stuff. I moved that over there, gotten that ring part on there. So I was ahead of you this time.
So you don't want to have intersections. So I'm actually going to use this as an excuse to slightly reorient my donuts and create a much more appealing looking stack, because I was experimenting before I hit the record button, and I thought if I just create, both of these stacks so they're kind of like leaning on each other, then I rotate them a little bit like this, then I take this donut, I could move it out, rotate that, something like this, there we go, right, then I rotate them a little bit like this, then I take this donut, I could move it out, rotate that, something like this. There we go. Right, and then, I'll rotate this a little bit more. It's a leaning tower of donuts. I'll move that out a little bit. But
we go.
really, with this many objects on top of each other, you're bound to have something that looks a little funky.
Yeah.
So just look at it from different angles. I mean, the most important one is the camera, right? Making sure that it is sensible. But because we've got a moving camera,
Let's check if the... Oh, hold on. There we go. I can probably shore that up a little bit. That's it there. No, not that way. Actual donuts themselves. Little. Not that way. X. Don't know what happened there. Oh, no, it's fine. Back to the 0 view. I could probably... Wrong tab. Probably just that one a smidge on the x-axis. Or wrong axis. That would be Y is what I meant, obviously. Little like that. And then the R, Y, like that. Smidge down. There we go. Back to the Chrome.
it kind of has to look good from multiple angles. The other thing I noticed also is it would look a lot better if I could see the top of this donut here. So I noticed if I select this stack and I rotate it like this, almost like it's on the edge of that plate there, like the lip, and it's kind of leaning this way, it looks a lot nicer. Yeah, see, now I can see the...
I can try and do that. Go this way. Wait, what? Wait, why is there an extra... Why's there an extra donut there? What the heck? Where did that come from? Oh, weird. And what's this one? Donut 1? Wait, I'll move that back over to there. And then take out this... Oh, that's the wrong one. Where is it? Here? I just take out this random plain donut? Okay. Alright, weird. I don't know why there was a whole extra one. There. We're doing it like that. I don't know about that.
Like the lip, and it's kind of leaning this way.
Yeah, I ain't too sure about that one, dog. I move that on the X, not Y. Z axis. And then little that away. Or like that. And the top one, that wrong button, R. And that can work. Look at the view. There we go, that's good. Out of camera view.
It looks a lot nicer. Yeah, see, now I can see the top of that donut, and yeah, just feels a lot nicer. Might actually rotate a little bit further. And then I'll move it up. Rotate this one.
Go drink of water.
I'll pull that in a little bit. And that's pretty good. That's not bad. All right. there. So that's a lot more interesting, and I've also corrected a lot of the intersections there. But, you know, as I mentioned before, guys, this is a tutorial, and I can't fix everything whilst I'm running the tutorial.
Why not?
Have a look
God
at
dang
your
it.
scene, and have a look at, you know, the plate.
Tutorial
Is
for
there a
fixing everything,
donut
that's what
which
we need
is
to know.
hovering above the plate like it is here? Make sure that it's not, or at least make sure that it is not in a place that's noticeable.
Let me see. Hovering. Or that one is hovering. Zoom. There's I want it on the X. No. Wrong part. Hold on. And G on the Z axis. Good. Scroll around that way. That's that one's good. It's not like floating. Good there. Okay.
Because that will not be good, and you'll be I mean, I actually finished the final animation sequence for this tutorial, and then noticed right at the end that one of the donuts was like this, and I just didn't notice it right until I did after the render sequence was complete. And actually, a coworker of mine was also working on the scene, helping render some extra sequences, and he didn't notice it either. And we were both like, "Damn, how did we miss that?" Because you just don't go looking for it. So I'm calling it out now because I'm sure a lot of you watching have got intersections, and it's good to try to fix it now. Another one to check for is your lighting and your exposure ranges. So first thing I know is that looking at this is good. It's putting a lot of the attention on the donuts, which is great. But this, everything here in the background is just, it's so dark, it's almost hard to see. And it feels a little bit too moody, right? It's almost like a Rembrandt painting or something like that. I want it to feel a little lighter, a little bit more friendly. So on the roof here, on the ceiling of my kitchen, I'm going to shift and then right click to put my 3D cursor there.
Okay, so shift, right click up there. Hold on. There we go. Shift right click there.
And then right at that point, I'm going to add in an area lamp.
Another area lamp, you say? There.
And I'm just going to move it down slightly just to make sure it's not clipping through the surface.
Hold on, clip it down. Not going through. A lot bigger.
And then, let's go look in this. So this is what it is with it off. And then if I just increase this, you can see it's just adding a little bit.
Okay, let me go to the camera view. Where is it? The light menu. Boost up the power. Those all only have it at like, 57. There we go. How much do you want it to
Bit of fill light to the whole scene to just feel a little bit lighter and a little less, extreme in its light choice.
Let's maybe lower that a smidge. And then like angle it like a smidge to the back. Maybe on the x-axis like that way. And it's like, so I crank this up even more so I see if it's even doing an effect really. There we go. Excuse me. That's I could really see, honestly. Like a little bit there. Like, where's the cube? Get it out of the way for a second. I do it. There. Sort of like that. That. Cube back on. Zoom back into there. Like a little bit of light.
But yeah, that looks pretty good. Now, by the way, this power value, there's something called the inverse square law that applies to all light in the real world and in 3D software. It just means that if something is double, like twice as close to something, it means it's going to be 4 times as bright. So what this means is that I've just added in an error.
Hold on 1 second. How are you doing? How is the, or how's like the rest of your stream? Hope it went well. Some nice art going on there. But how are you doing? Hope you got like more, or like even more like cool Halloween ideas after I sadly had to go and do these dang old Blender lessons. Good. Thanks for a shout out. Of course. It's the least I could do. Nice. I'm glad the rest of the stream went well. And I saw we like raided on over to Xeno. I saw that tab change when I went to the restroom. Nice. I'm glad you had a great stream. We've just been trying to do the other parts of the lessons here. Oh, let me... wrong part. Take a look at this. Yeah, it was nice. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. All right, here's what we did today. Behold. It's like slow with like the render thing. Hold on. Wait, no. I'll just show you here's like the motion. Behold. It moves. It has motion. Slower when it's in the actual like rendered version, but I thought that'll look normal later when it actually does the render stuff. I had it on like a different one before. I had it on like a Eevee, which was like going like faster for that, but then it doesn't have like all the other lighting stuff. I'm not sure why. Like, so I would like to, like, I would prefer to be able to use the Eevee for it, but it's like, that's like its own, like, other, like, lighting stuff it needs. So I would, like, that's something I'll, like, that I bookmarked, like, take a look at, to take a look at later. But yeah, so back onto the cycles one, so it'll have all that fancy light. Yeah, so it's, like, a bit slow there, but when it actually does, like, the render, it'll be, like, all the frames will be there, all good. And it's looking so good. Thank you. And it's definitely like taken quite a while for this, and there's still like a bit more lessons, or like yeah, the rest of the render ones and like the finale. And of course like other plenty more like tutorials and stuff after, like the most I gotta try and look up is like for like a like character posing stuff specifically. Like, so that's what I'm trying to learn it for, is like, oh, like, get these characters doing like something cool, you know? And it would be like more still images, not much animation stuff. Like that. That's what I'm trying to like learn it for, but I have to go through like this beginner tutorial first, you know? Try to at least get like a handle on the basics, at least like what I could grab with my little dino claws to handle. Yeah, but we've been working through it bit by bit. But thank you for thinking it looks good.
area lamp, right,
I'm
at
trying.
the top of my ceiling, but that's because this is just the size of the box
think
that
I
I've
messed
got.
up, like, the
If
scale
yours
stuff
is
on it
a
early,
little
so it's,
bit
like,
shorter than this,
stuff like the
right,
light doesn't
then
work
when you placed it, then this
fully
lamp
normally.
and this lamp energy that we've just defined here as 10 watts
something
is
that'll be
going to be
like-
a lot brighter. So don't copy the values that I'm putting here.
copy the
Have a look at
value.
your scene and try to evaluate and go, is it bright enough? Is it too bright?
So
Do
it's
I
like,
feel that this fill light is too
like on later
overpowering?
ones, I'll have it, like,
right?
the
Or is it
scale stuff set
underpowering?
correctly
Just
right at the
evaluate
start,
and
so it
try to
should
do
all
it
work
as fairly as you can. And something that I
normally.
recommend, and this I do a lot of the
Render.
time for a lot of final renders, is underneath your
Okay. How do you feel it's going? Do you feel like you're getting a hold of it? Kind of. I mean, I don't have like the. Hold on, let me. Here, I don't have like the like immediate like headache I had before when it was like when I first like loaded it up and just seeing like, okay, all of these like freaking menus and like trying to move at all, like, let me move that out of there. It's like all sorts of like the moving and everything is like different, so it's like I was like going like from a Source Filmmaker where it's like so to move around you have to like click with like the left mouse and it's like you can move around like it's a game, like WASD, go through that, and I tried to do, and I hear it's not moving. Okay, I guess it's like middle click to move. That's weird. Okay, but then how do I move it around? It doesn't like, it's not like middle click and the mouse keys to move around. It's like just stuck on this pivot. What the heck? How do I do this? Alright, I got this character model. I loaded up. Okay, like why is it all gray? Where's the color? Where's it? What are all these deals? Like, in other keys, all these were popping up. So it's like way too much. Like for my dino brain. Like, so I'm like getting it a tiny bit. Like at least so far as like doing like the like, how do you phrase it? Like the paint by numbers part of the tutorial. Like I'm able to do that. When it's like when I actually get to like the character moving stuff and like and outfit stuff like that, that's gonna be like the real, or like the even bigger challenge, I should say. Like not the real challenge, because this is already a challenge at its current stage, but you know what I mean. Like not as much tutorial stuff like for that, so it's gonna be like a bit trickier for that. Like I'm working on it. We'll get it figured out bit by bit after this like beginner tutorial. Like all this stuff, like the texture paint for like the little logo. There's like the sculpting stuff for like the like for what you saw before, actually. Like I can zoom in, right? Hold on. There we go. That's like the stuff you saw before, like how the how like the Donna had this little lip that was like part of the like the texture paint. It was like, or like modern sculpting part of it. So it was like putting a part like a mask on there, so you can actually do like inflate of that for like the extra line around it, that sort of thing. Yeah, it's definitely very tricky. Like, especially like for me too, because I never had like any, I didn't do good in like art classes and stuff like that before. Never really like a huge drive for it, so to speak. Like I did like I started like a Source Filmmaker like 2020, like for like making a picture for a friend. Just did like one of those like each month, but not like not really serious on it, So I don't have like that initial like built-in a creative drive, so to speak. So it is like, so it does have like that extra. I don't mean to like just like completely dismissing like what I was able to do here. I just mean like I don't have that initial like built-in drive, so to speak. See what I'm So like in a way, it's like a bit like forcing it, but like I can get it like potentially get it figured out. I get yeah. Yeah, and so I don't mean it's any of that to sound like I mean it's like I guess it's okay. I mean I'm not an artist. I know it looks terrible. You don't have to humor me. I don't mean it that way. It's just like yeah, I just didn't have like I don't have like that specific brain wiring. So it's like it's a bumpier road for the car to drive on, but I can still drive it. If that makes any sense, I'm not even sure if it does to me. Explaining stuff is hard sometimes, y'all. But yeah, I'm getting through it. But also, I still gotta get some, like, even just like Blender aside, I gotta set some time to make the, like, the SFM picture for the Halloween contest. It's like I had that, I think you saw like the one I did before, for like my summer art. I'm not sure. Like this one, I gotta make like one of these for, like, before it's October 1st to advertise like the Halloween art contest. You did see. Okay, I wasn't sure if I showed it here or not. Okay, just making sure. So yeah, I got to make one of these for the next contest to like advertise it. Like since that's the other like annual one I hold every year, it's like Halloween. So like October 1st to the 31st, spooky themes, you know, skeletons and like outfits from other games and movies, stuff like that, you know. I usually get like good entries on that, so I'm excited for that. I just got to set the time to make that. So I have like essentially like 11 days left to do that. Taking out like the stream times on like here and games and stuff, you know. So it will be a little tricky, but I will definitely make it in time. Have no worry about that. Like I'm thinking maybe like have like do like a cauldron or something like on a TF2 map. Have it like bubbling up and a piece of art coming out from it, or something like that. Like a witch hat, of course. There's like plenty of witch hat items in SFM I can use. So there's not no lack of choice there. I'll figure something out.
Color. Try to do it as fairly as you can.
It's simply a matter
and
of
something
time.
that I recommend, and this I do a lot of the time for a lot of final renders, is underneath your color management. If you go to View Transform, change it from AGX.
Color management, View Transform. And where is that? I'll figure it out. And I gotta look for like a different like outfit for my model too. Like for this one. Like in case the other one isn't finished by that point. Which I don't think it will be, because like the artist, or like the 3D artist who's doing it, they're like moving currently. Like moving back to their like they're at like a, if I have it right, so the place they've been for like the last years, like they were at like a family's apartment, like visiting for a while, and then they are now moving back to their apartment. So they're packing up all their stuff, just like doing like like a bit of like skeleton work after a long day, is like a way to relax kind of thing. Like so likely with all of that, it's probably not going to be done by Halloween, I'm guessing. And if so, it's like no problem whatsoever. Obviously, like moving back, getting everything all packed up and set properly is like the more important, you know. I ain't gonna rush them on that. But yeah, so I will have to look for like other outfits for this model here, and like put like spooky stuff onto overlays. Get like a Halloween version of like the opening song. I got a couple of possibilities for the ending, but I gotta think of like some different like lyrics for this one. Stuff like changing stream to scream and other Crypt Keeper puns for it.
To false color.
Whoa, what
Now, this obviously you never want to do for a final render, but this is revealing
AGX to false color, so you can see all this crazy stuff. Like almost like a blacklight version.
to you
Like
what
a
is the
neon light.
exposure range of different parts of the image. Kind of like if you're using a camera and it's
So
got
what
like a zebra thing to like show you which parts are clipping.
if, like, one part
This is
has
like that, but
too
it's
much
like
going onto it?
to an advanced level. Essentially, it's showing you, I mean, I'll put this up from the Blender documentation, but it's showing you what is the exposure range of
Right.
which parts of the image. And there's no like right or wrong
Like, so
here,
you would-
but generally
you
speaking,
prefer
you
it
want
not
to
to be,
have
like,
a nice range, because then it's
not be red and
showing
white, or-
there are parts that are in light and then there are parts that are in shadows, and there is a range there so that you can reveal the form. There are exceptions to it, but generally that's the idea. Now, in my case, I want to make sure that really there's very few areas that are in the red or the white. The white means there is actually no information there because it has clipped. So that is not good. It's okay for a few areas, right, where there's a few highlights, but generally speaking, you don't want too much. Now, in my case, I think it's a little bit too high, so I'm just dialing it back. And just so
Doing the exposure. Do I even have any red? No, mine are all good. They're all like in the orange and yellow range. Let's see, 1529. I also have mine on high contrast, and theirs are on medium high. And I keep it on that. It just seems like, okay, it doesn't seem to change anything. Okay.
so that I get most of, you know, the part of the donut
so
where
you
it's
just do
hitting the
that for,
light,
like, taking out the
it's mostly in the
stuff that's
orange to
too
yellow
much.
range with a
Okay.
very small amounts of
good thing for
red or
checking on
white coming
later
through.
Later
So once I'm
pictures.
happy with that, make sure you change it back to AGX, otherwise
Back
you'll be
to
rendering to
AGX.
false color, and that will
Done
look
did that.
horrible. A few other aesthetic choices. I noticed that the pink was a little bit too hot. The saturation does make a
no such thing as
difference,
hot pink-
so I'm just
or
going to
hot pink
dial
being
it
too
back
hot.
to around about a 0.6 value. I also noticed that this yellow color was a little bit too close to mustard, so I'm just going to tweak
don't wanna
the
mustard
hue here
donut.
just to make it a little bit more exciting, kind of like a banana yellow, right? And a little bit brighter as well. Just a little bit more cheerful. The
Wait, hold on a
blue,
second.
I'm going to make a little closer to an...
Hold on, why is that one like clipping? How did that happen? G with Z, I could go down a bit much. Zoom around here. And if I do that, no, wrong part. Oop. Out of that, an icing. Now that looks normal. Now, which one is that? That is donut 2, it looks like. I don't know why those don't take out the frosting too, so I can see it easier. Or should I just do it like piece by piece? Looks okay. That's back to being properly aligned. I just get to like moved a bit when I did a rotate on it. Okay, what's good? I caught that. That now. I don't see it on like any of the others. Plus, the sides like the back is not going to get seen anyway. So that's all good. That. Okay, then he was doing. Yeah, it's like color check stuff. That's on material? Yeah. And now it's like good for like the milk chocolate. I could do like a smidge because it's like darker than it was like before. I turn on this. Can I make this like a darker purple perhaps? Alright, there we go. Alright, that works. That works better.
aqua, which is a little more funky, a little, I don't know, more
funky.
interesting, at least
Funky
to me.
aqua.
The base color, oh yeah, this one here. So I decided after looking at this and evaluating it, I'm like, I should just go with the white icing like what I had in my my final render. So just creating a new material, call it white icing, right?
I'm happy with
And
the ones
also
I
for the
got.
donut, I noticed
like
I
all
forgot to put subsurface
character
scattering on the
color
donut
themed
itself. Because donut, although it's bread,
There we go.
right? It's not going to have as much subsurface scattering as the icing, but it will have some, right? So I'm going to give it a weight of 1. Radius, make sure that
hold on.
I noticed I forgot to put subsurface scattering on the donut itself, because donut, although it's bread, right? It's not going to have as much subsurface scattering as the icing, but it will have some, right? So I'm going to give it a weight of 1.
Subsurface weight of 1. And that's from the material part. Somewhere. Weight of 1. Okay.
Radius, make sure that's always set to 1. And then this value here.
Right, radius also 1. Good.
Let's go 0.01, like that.
0.01 on the scale. I just do that. Not actually sure what that change on it. Yeah, I can't detect any actual change with my eyes.
Which I think is actually more than the icing that we gave it.
I think that's
but
good.
Anyways, it works because it's kind of doughy. We can kind of get away. Maybe I'm having second thoughts right now.
Actual difference that's
we'll go
doing.
0.01. Why not? Make it look a little bit more stylized and cartoonish. The other thing that I can see looking at this is that this part here, right, with these ball sprinkles on it, is it's very like high frequency detail, which is just like a technical term to mean like small detail. Like artists always invent terms just to sound smarter than they are, but it looks high frequency, right? And it's a little too high frequency. It's good to have some small detail, but not that small. It's just it's kind of gritty, and it's kind of like it's sticking out like a sore thumb to me. So what I'm going to do is go to my geometry node setup just for my round sprinkles here. And by the way, also make sure you're looking at the correct one, not long.
Wait, wrong tab. This is geometry nodes. And it is the round sprinkles, yes.
Sprinkles. Uncheck that little pin if you've got it, like I did. And then I'm going to change the round sprinkles scale, dragging down to 1.5. So it's a lot bigger, which means I can use a different distance min value.
And so increase the... what scale did it do?
So it's a lot bigger. Sprinkles scale, dragging down to 1.
All of them scale. Let's go back a little bit so I can see if it like affects other stuff. Turn this way. 5. Click. Okay. Yeah, I made like a bit bigger all around.
5. So it's a lot bigger, which means I can use a different distance min value. 0.0.
All right, move the distance min up. There, so I can see it a little easier. A little bit too much. Make that like 9. Or 1. How about a 3? That's not like too early if that much, maybe. Yeah. Let's put that at a 1, 2. And maybe let's just do like 1.4 perhaps. Let me go back a bit to see how it looked before I did that. So 1.5. I know it's the same thing, it's just like smaller. And 1, 4. 1, 9. Okay.
002.
That's good, I think.
And whilst I'm here, I'm
Whilst.
also going to
Give me some
change the
whilst.
distance value for the long sprinkles because I noticed it was feeling a little too even, the distribution of these, which generally means that with this Poisson distribution,
Let's
it's
see. I
using the
think that-
distance to make sure that they're all perfectly evenly spaced.
I think
And it's a
that's a
little
fine
bit,
distance.
it's too big, essentially. So I'm going to set this to 0.004 instead, which means you will have some overlaps and some clipping.
I think it's all right.
But if we use a lower count here in our setup, like 80, for
I wouldn't
example,
complain about
or even
this,
lower,
the sprinkle
right?
density.
it should feel a lot more natural, right? It doesn't look
Right.
like before it was like 200 when it was, this was 0.006, and now it's like 30, but it still almost feels like the same as what it was before because that distance, when you lower it, you're getting more sprinkles in there, even though it's a lower sprinkle density.
Yeah, it's
Anyways,
fine, like
technical. Also lower this
smattering.
one because that's just too many, so let's go like 50 for that. And that's pretty good. You can also experiment. Like I tried changing the
Back to the
different,
layout mode.
like whether this one has long sprinkles or whether this one at the top has round. You can play around with these. I went, I think the bottom one I gave long. This
Yeah, you might
one I'm
change it
going
up
to
with
turn
the-
it off. So none.
not
No
gonna have
sprinkles on that one.
one with no
And just try and
sprinkles,
get
that's
a
crazy.
nice, feel for it. You're just trying to go for something that looks a little balanced in its detail,
Mm-hmm.
so you don't have too much repetition across it. So I'm trying to get a nice breakup of like round, long, none,
have it-
none, round, etc.
round,
The
line,
other thing, since we're talking about detail,
Line,
is
round,
looking at this,
round,
right?
line.
This is small detail. This is small detail. These shapes here, right? This is large detail. Okay, so we've got large and we've got this small detail. We don't have any medium detail. And it's
true.
good to have a variance across the scene. Just, I don't know, it's one of the design rules. It just
suppose.
helps things feel a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. So something I saw when I was looking on Pinterest many years ago for
been on
one of the
Pinterest,
old
really.
donut series was like, you can put bigger sprinkles, like a few big chunky sprinkles on it. And it just adds variance to it and it just makes it look a lot more appealing. So for that, you could do it using geometry nodes, but I just do it by hand placing like 3 sprinkles. So on this donut here, shift right clicking on this part of the donut. I'll go into, here we go, solid view mode, and then shift A, and then I'm gonna add in a UV sphere. Default settings are okay. I'm just gonna scale it down
I was like, do that manually.
like that, right? So this is the size of the sprinkle, quite big. You could imagine it almost as like a gumball or something. It's
wouldn't know
probably
what a
not big
gumball
enough
in
to be a
in
gumball, but you know
donut,
what I
that would,
mean, like
hurt to
something
bite on.
big, right? Make sure you're using shade smooth.
Right, let's see, don't
And
be
for the
catch it by
material,
surprise.
sorry if this is like getting too in the weeds, but a lot of people when they're following tutorials, they like to know the exact settings that I used. So I'm
Right.
trying to show them all whilst not taking too
I
long.
would not want a gumball
but
in mind,
there we
so I
go.
will-
So I go for like a aqua color.
I will just watch this part.
Yeah, like that. And then I want to turn the roughness like all the way down, like that.
Right. We could do that
Cool.
same
And
thing
now
for like
I just need to
ice
duplicate
cream
that
with
sprinkle. So
gumball
duplicate
eyes.
here. And I'll pull it out. And I'm just going to go with 3. You could go for more, but I'm just going to go with 3.
Make a nice
And I'm
Triforce
only
of
going to put it
gumballs.
on this donut. I'm not going to bother with the others. I'm going to say this is the special one. This is the one that we want your eye to be drawn to. So this is the one with a little bit more
I already
detail
have that part
than the others. I'm sorry if I'm
accomplished
doing
with
a horrible zigzaggy job
little,
of. I could
badge.
do snapping, but I'm like, it's just too much work to do the snapping functions for this. So I'm going to select those 3, shift select the icing,
what accomplishes
control
that little-
P, and then go
little
keep
badge right
transform.
there.
There we go. So now they're all
works
attached
out
to
just
that, just
fine.
in case I move the donut. It's correctly
I did that part all
done.
myself.
The final thing I think I changed was the world settings underneath the air and dust for our sky texture. I just dialed it back to around about a 0.7.
I think I adjusted that too. The world settings. I did it like at least when I had the other light settings. Just for like the speed, but I don't see it now. Viewport display. Let's see, that's that one here. Clear atmosphere, I had at 1. And I'll do that. Oh, I can't like adjust it. I can't drag both of them with that. Okay.
Just a little bit cooler in the lighting, right?
Do that. Let's say, yeah, like 0.8. Let's drag this so I can see like the changes of it. So yeah, it makes it like cloudier. There we go. Just in ozone. It's like nice and blue. Okay. I gotta get some sleep night, guys. I'll see you, Delta. We are just like only a few minutes on this one. I'll be right on over. But thank you very much for popping by. Have a good sleep. I'll see you over tomorrow on the Zone stream. So have fun watching games you played and all that stuff. But yeah, have a wonderful sleep. Thank you for popping by. I always appreciate that.
Right, as I might remember, I told you, if you go all the way there, it's like the sky just becomes like blue. And if it's too far up, then it becomes yellow and orange or whatever.
Well, I do want it to be yellow and orange. Then how did he drag it both on? Oh, okay, you do it. Then you don't like let go of the click. Okay. Let's see. Like that. There we go.
Like kind of too decayed, but
I
you know, like a
like
0.7-ish, it'll just look, it just feels a little cleaner
like an early
in
morning
comparison to what it was.
Golden hour.
Awesome. Now we're almost there. I promise you, we're almost there. The one thing that you probably do want to know how to add is depth of field. It adds a lot because every single camera in the real world has depth of field, except for pinhole cameras, interestingly, because there is no optics in a pinhole camera, so it can have like infinite depth of field, supposedly. Anyways, the depth of field settings is underneath your camera. Okay, so select your camera, then click on the data here.
So camera and data. Where is that? Camera. On the camera. First play. Oh, well, there's depth of field, so it's like already there. In case they already like moved that with like a later update or something.
And then depth of field right at the bottom. So check that box.
Depth of field right at the bottom. Depth of field clicked on. And I should be at the end part there.
Everything will become blurry because it doesn't have a focus object yet. So click the little eyedropper tool and then just click on this icing, this pink donut icing.
Okay, eyedropper tool. And like already seems fine, but I'll do it there.
Right in the front here. And there you go. So that is depth of field. It used to be really difficult to do in Blender. I started like, 20 years ago, and it was this horrible like motion blur thing you had to do for the camera to like rotate it. Anyway, wow. It's just a checkbox now. It's fascinating. Anyways, the f-stop, if you're unfamiliar with cameras, the lower the f-stop, the shallower that depth of field. So you can see very little of this image is actually in focus. So it's actually good for like miniatures. But if you want more of the scene to be in focus, like you want more of this donut stack to be seen, I would go with an f-stop somewhere between 6 or 8. Something around that range. I think I went with 8 for my final one, or maybe it was 6.
Let me see. Of my camera view. F-stop. Doesn't actually seem like it changed anything on that one. Probably because like I did before, I messed up the scale parts.
Can't remember. Anyways, but you can see the stuff in the background is now out of focus, and it puts the attention where it should be, right on those donuts in the middle there. And the other thing that I always forget to enable is motion blur. So underneath your render settings here, you just need to check motion blur. And I actually find the default setting is usually fine. It's a little smooth, like it's a little bit too blurry sometimes, so you might want to drop it to like 0.4 or something.
I always like turn it off in games.
It should be defined with the default. It usually looks okay.
It's an option.
So,
motion blur. If I do this, pause that. There we go. Out of the camera view, just so I could see this easier.
Are we ready to render our final animation?
Maybe.
Well, I actually thought yes. So that little jump cut that you saw there was me going, yeah, let's render that animation. And then I rendered it out. And then I came back and I went, wait a minute. I've made some errors. Bom, bom. Now, can you tell what they are? I will give you a clue. Right here, right here, right here. We're missing those three little balls that we created, little sprinkles. And then also, look in the background here. Mysteriously dark, almost as if the area lamp that we added is not there. So I'll first of all say, it's very common to do this. You think that you're finally ready, like, yeah, everything looks good, kick off the final animation. I've sometimes waited like over a week for a whole animation to finish. And then I come back and then I open it up and then I go, oh no, I forgot to turn off that layer. I forgot to turn on that layer. I forgot, you know. Actually, a technique that Pixar uses, I learned at one of the SIGGRAPH presentations they did. They said they rendered the first frame, the middle frame, and the end frame of every shot before they do the full animation sequence, because that usually reveals any problems in the animation, which they can then correct. So I should have done that, but didn't. Anyways, what was my mistake? Well,
I don't know.
When we disabled this sprinkles collection, right? We disabled it from appearing in the render.
Like one of the things
that's fine.
Tied in the
but
same
when we created these objects, I didn't check what was the active collection. So when you add a new object, it adds it to whatever is the selected collection, this little one with the little box around it. So obviously, it put it inside of that collection. So these spheres should not be inside the sprinkles. So I'm going to drag it out into a donuts collection, which is where it should be. And then this area lamp as well. That's the reason that the background is dark.
That makes sense.
Is because that was inside the sprinkles, so it was hidden from the render as well. So now putting that into the environment, that now should look a lot better. So do a test render just by hitting F12, see how that looks first, what I should have done. I mean, even just doing one render could have revealed this problem. It's that obvious. But do a test render, check, look, we've got the balls appearing, the fill light is now in the background. And the other thing I noticed, and this is because it's the next day that I'm recording this, when you look at something with fresh eyes, you often notice different things. So I thought that this exposure looked pretty good, but then now having a look at it the next day, I can see that it's a little overexposed. Okay, so if you look at the false color, this is what it looks like, and there's just too much orange there. So essentially, I'm going to drop this back to be so it's like mostly yellow across the front of these donuts here. Well, not mostly yellow, but more yellow than what there was before. There's not really an exact way to sort of pinpoint it, but I could just tell it's a little overexposed. So I'm just dialing it back to be a little more reasonable. Again, your exposure ranges might be different depending on how close your donuts are to the window or something, but look at it with your own eyes, and if it looks wrong when you're using this exposure range, use a different value. Tweak it and try to make it look accurate. Because actually, I was on Discord this morning looking at some of your renders. Join the Discord if you're not on there. And I was like, okay, a lot of people also have overexposed renders, so I should bring that up. Anyway, we are now finally ready to do a render. So again, I am using no noise threshold, 500 samples, probably get that up to 1,000 if you want it to be non-jittery. Denoise, open image denoise, and then I'm...
Denoise, open image denoise, so I have that. I should. Denoise. I use GPU. That's what I like. The better one is. Yeah. I do that. Just save just for safety.
Outputting it to TIFFs, just RGB, we don't need alpha, 8-bit, and then I'm just putting it into a folder.
Gonna put that
which,
there.
because I made a mistake, I'm going to put it into another folder. I actually made 2 mistakes, rendered it twice. I'll put it into a 3, right? That's why I put them in subfolders.
Right.
Anyways, now that I'm ready, I'm going to go render animation. And this is now kicking it off. I can now leave it, walk away, and it will just start, as it finishes rendering, it'll just start dumping it into the folder.
Take a while.
And there you go. So you can see it's rendered 3 frames. So we've got 3 images here. Once it's finished, we should have 160 TIFF files inside this folder, which you will have to watch the final part of this tutorial to learn how to take that sequence and form a video file that you can use and send, etc. So click here to watch the final part of this tutorial series.
All right, let me save that. And there's another save here. I'll close the little Chrome tab thingy. And move this over to here. All right. I'd like to thank you all for watching, everybody. Hope you had fun. Oh, it's already 10. I mean, I did say I was going to go a bit longer because I didn't start until like 6:30 or so. And there's just yet another additional like half hour onto that. But we got some good stuff with that. We got that basic animation swoop thingy. Got some of the lighting adjusted. All that good stuff. So I will get, after I finish the stream, I'll get the render thing started, so I have that like ready for that next lesson, or next on Thursday. But yeah, I hope you all had fun watching it. Thank you for the raid earlier, Aces. It was very cool. Thanks for popping by, Flex and Delta, all the lurkers. I all appreciate it. I'll be back on Saturday. That'll be like more Story Saturday stuff, so that'll be more in Blightbound, trying to get that like ever so slightly closer to finishing. I will try to get the picture, the advertisement picture made for the Halloween contest. Get that done ahead of time. Take a look at some outfits for this fine fellow here. But yeah, I will see you all on Saturday. So take care, everybody. Let me see. Who's live I could raid on over to? Let's see art channels that are open. Raid browser. Yeah, I saw Xeno earlier, but they're look like their stream finished. A filter by category. Let's see who else is doing art stuff. Take a look for a good channel to go to. Thanks for stream, Papa. Thank you for joining, Data. I always appreciate it. I'm glad. I hope you had fun watching. Let's see. They don't have a mic. They're muted. Because all the artists like broke their mics today or something. As far as I can guess. I see Pumpkin Unicorn streaming. I've never seen their channel before. Maybe. Let me make. I mean, if they're in the raid browser, it should mean like that they're able to be rated right now. Let me do a quick check. They are okay. Yeah, so we can go. So we can go on over to Pumpkin Unicorn after the end and stuff. And yeah, so I'll be back on Saturday, and I'll see you all then. So take care, everybody. Have a great dinner if you haven't eaten yet, or whatever you're... Like, have a good food, whatever it will be. I hope all your dreams come true on Friday. Take care, everybody. And I'll see you next time. Let me see. And we can see if this makes anything... If Frosty makes anything good. Our 3D trash and issue treasure. Well, I mean, it definitely was 3D trash, so that part's accurate. Yeah, you could use that, or just like... Or you could just like use your... like the runny dinosaur red one you got. Like, or if you're... Where is it? Or if you're sub, you could use like the little one I got. Like, any of that's good. There's no wrong answers. Oh yeah, so we'll be going on over. So take care, everybody. I'll see you next time. Yeah, I don't have like a set, like a bespoke raid message in general. Like, nothing like pops to my head for that. Yeah, we can just dance. Yeah. Look at all the dinos dancing. That's always a fun time. Yeah, also, who said that the Rex outfit should be like dressed up as me? Like, I didn't see that in the Discord. And it's a good idea. That's like funny to see on the charts. I did not see that. Who did it? Yes, I didn't know that it was like separate. I had like the witch idea. I was like thinking of the like as Dino. I thought it would work for human or Dino. I did not know it's the distinction. Just because like primarily it is like the plushy Dino like avatar. The avatar's the right word. It'll be cool to see which it will be. Ah, Schmorky. Ah, cool. Right. Well, good idea, Schmorky. They got some good ideas from time to time, and this was one of those times. Click on the wrong tab. And I'll see you all next time, everybody. Take care. I'm gonna have some pizza. There we go.